All right, excellent. So we're trying this the second time. Go for round two. See what happens. And Engelharth is out of town. I am all on my own. So my original plan failed utterly. Apologies. Needed to get a drink there. It was like 105 degrees in the western coast of Maine today, and holy shit, was it just fucking baking outside. And there is no AC in my house. I'll tell you that right now. There is the old, open the windows in the middle of the night and fucking hope all the cold air gets trapped inside when you close them in the morning. That is the only system we have. Oh wow! I just a quick note. I'm looking on Twitter here to retweet the Untitled Studios onto my personal Twitter. It says there's a man named Ronald McDonald at one point robbed a Wendy's in 2005. It's pretty fucking funny if you ask me. That's pretty fucking funny if you don't ask me. So don't ask me, I guess, is the fucking uh, moral of that particular story. So Engelhardt is out. I'm not sure how long this is going to go. I'm not particularly good at just talking on my own. Now, if there's another person here, I can talk to the point where they get sick of me, but I can't really just talk on my own that way. Did see something interesting that I wanted to share. I just thought this was kind of cool. Um, and just a weird little thing on the internet. Let me screen share this real quick for anybody who's watching in the VOD. Also, if you're somebody I know and you want to be on here, let me know. Here we go. So this is eggplant mail, where they send a message on an eggplant anonymously. They will mail it to somebody for it looks like $30, but you can get it for like 18. Oh, you can get if you buy two, you get one free, or you can even get a pack of five. And two a pack of five is only $50, so 18 per. But that's not a bad deal. Should be just under like just around $80 if they. I think so. Is it 18 times five? Oh, $90 if it was five of them on that single price. Damn, that's still pretty damn good. I imagine I Want You When You're Sleeping is definitely the most popular one because I'm sure that'd be fucking comforting to get in the mail. That seems like such a bad plan though. Like on the off chance that you did send that to somebody and it's anonymous, it have to be somebody can take that joke. Because holy fucking shit, I can't think of something that's going to be more likely to get somebody to call the cops than I watch you when you're sleeping. Because that seems like it'd be a funny thing, and probably on the internet, it's not altogether uncommon for that particular joke to go. But I just can't imagine how that would work out IRL, so to speak. Yeah, I don't know why I was like just showing off my Twitter. Yeah, because I got no followers. I'm fucking awesome. Oh, you don't have a microphone, Detour? You totally want to jump on and bullshit with me, but he has no idea how to do that. If you have a microphone, essentially I just send you the link and then you just click on it in. I think you'd have to use like Chrome, and you would just click on the link in Chrome, and then it would send you to the Hangout. And I just send it to you on like I guess Twitter. I think I had you on Twitter. Yeah, if it's got a microphone and it talks on the internet, it would absolutely work. So we might have an interesting podcast anyway. Just me talking to somebody random from the audience. Although I think all the audience are people I know, so it's not really like anything special. Let me see here. So we might have a special guest tonight. That'd be kind of cool. Just take me a minute to figure out how to do this. All right. So it is sent via direct message on Twitter, Zaytwakwa. This may be one of the funnier goddamn comics I've seen in my life. Let me share this real quick. All right. Give you a minute to read that. I guess I'll read it. She says, I can tie a cherry stem with my tongue. And then it goes on later that night. And hello, yes, I'd like to see a doctor. A woman tied my penis into a knot with her mouth, which is pretty, I don't know why. That just makes me giggle. I'll go back and check chat. All right. Yeah, Google Hangouts is nice in that you can just basically send anybody a link to the Google Hangout you're doing live, and then they can join in. Yeah, that'd probably be a good way to go. H12's looking at, he's on his phone right now, and he's going to try to figure it out on a computer. Well, we'll see if he joins in or not. I do have an interesting story out of the UK that I'd love to bounce off of somebody and get their opinion on because I thought it was interesting and almost in a way inevitable, unfortunately. If a little bit sad. Okay. Oh, so originally I was going to try to tell a story, and I deleted that cast because it just fucking went like 3 minutes. It just got fucked up. I will eventually try to do that again. It just seems like apparently trying to just make it up on the spot is not my strong suit, which I didn't know whether or not I could or not. So it was worth giving it a shot. I gave it a try. It was worth it just to see, how that works out. And it was an experience, a really awkward and unpleasant one. And so maybe I'll write that down and just read it off at some point when it will work a little bit better because I think that might be interesting. Might be interesting to do, and it'll be some interesting content to put up on the channel, stuff that people can listen to while they're just busy doing other things. Because realistically, I think for the most part, Hangouts are generally stuff you just put on in the background and like listen to while you're playing video games or doing something more interesting. Oh, we have another viewer who's staying away from our chat cleverly. Let's see. What am I thinking? My brain is gone. Oh yeah, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I don't think I am one of them. I'm fairly positive that's never occurred. If it has, fucking, that just sounds awful. I can't imagine another one of me anywhere. It kind of makes me shiver a little bit just to think of that. It's a scary thought. That's a terrible thing. I'm debating on just tweeting it out. I can just tweet the link out. That might be kind of funny. See like random people get on and see what they have to say. Oh, interesting. Is people arguing over the definition of like misogynist. Oh, that's hilarious. Man, if there's one thing on the internet that may be one of the more unintentionally things that I think everybody's done, myself absolutely included. Oh, well, Base Mama is streaming. There's no way anybody's going to freaking come and watch mine. I'm amazed I got one viewer. But arguing definitions of things may be one of the like more difficult things to do on the net. just in the general sense of like you can find pretty much anything you fucking want in your own bias. Like you could probably find the definition of a slave that means like a guy that gets paid like less than $20 an hour or some nonsense. If that was what you were inclined to believe already, there's no doubt in my mind. Somewhere out there is a dictionary with that definition right there for you. It should be interesting. Like, just it seems to me when a lot of people debate, a lot of debates online that I've seen on streams for number one, a lack of moderator, which is really unfortunate. I did participate in a debate on a channel called Millennial Woes at one point a long time ago, and I got to say, whatever your other opinions about Millennial Woes are, he is a very, very nice guy and exceptionally fair and exceptionally polite to his people that he has on his channel for whatever reason. And we were debating, what is it, what do you call that? The IQ thing. The thing where there's this group of people that believe that black people are just like biologically less intelligent, I guess. I forget what it's called. There's like a name for it, but they just think like that essentially like black people are just inferior to white people because of genetics, and it's mainly based on IQ. And there's a lot of stuff that I could go into with that, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree or disagree, and I don't really give a shit. But I was debating against it because I think it's kind of a nonsense theory. It's a bastardization of statistics, and it's a deliberate interpretation of information to prove a point as opposed to finding out what that information might prove, if that makes sense. Like you're not looking at the information without as unbiasedly as possible and figuring out what that information might mean. You're deciding what you want the information to mean and then figuring out how to make that information look like it means what you want it to mean. And I was debating a guy and that's going back and forth, and it was great. There was a moderator. Whenever anybody started to get out of line or just kind of getting a little too aggressive or even doing things that were just kind of inappropriate in the debate, he stepped in, and it was actually Millennial Woes who moderated the debate between me and another guy. The moderator stepped in and said, "All right, that's enough of that. You guys need to either change subject or you need to whatever it was that needed to be done." It was pretty cool. But you see a lot of these debates, and I guess one of the best examples of the worst would be any debate with I guess his name's Destiny. I think it's Destiny. I think he's debated with a bunch of people. And if I remember right, he debated against JonTron and really just worked JonTron because JonTron just was not prepared for debating and had I'm guessing no prior experience. And you could tell he, for the most part, knew what he was talking about, but didn't understand how to put things in a way that prevented your opponent from being able to either use them against you or misconstrue what you said in a way that made you look bad. And Destiny really took advantage of that and did a lot of really, in my opinion, not very fair debating tactics. I don't know, if I were Destiny, I wouldn't be proud of that particular victory. I would actually feel kind of like a douchebag. But yeah, and you see a lot of that where people, especially where people just get really angry and will start yelling back and forth, and they lack that moderator to really kind of just bring it back. Like, hey, guys. We're supposed to be debating here, not having a verbal fucking knockdown, drag out fight online. Which, if you listen to some of the old podcasts, I think you see a lot of stuff where me and 40 Mike would get into it pretty heatedly. And maybe we needed somebody to step in and be like, all right, assholes, shut the fuck up. Move the fuck on. You're clearly not going to agree. Maybe it's time to just let that shit go. Well, this is going on a lot longer than I thought it would go. But yeah, I think that would be something that I'd love to see more of online because I do enjoy a good debate. I'm pretty much an asshole too, so that just sort of lends to that, thing. When I have an opinion, I strongly hold that opinion because I don't know, but usually I've really researched it. I've looked into it. I've heard a lot of the facts on both sides of something, and it's like, oh yeah, so that's my opinion, and I'm willing to really defend it and dig in with both heels. But I like to do it in a civilized fashion, and sometimes that's really difficult for people. Let's see here. I got to get another drink. Sorry about that. There's only one of me, so when I have to take a drink of water, there's nobody to vamp. Vamp being the art of just saying nothing and keeping everybody occupied while something else is happening behind the scenes. Not in reference to any actual YouTubers by the name of Vamp Candy, who nobody knows because I don't think I've ever. Well, I'm sure some of the people who listen to the stuff I do now know it because they know me from stuff, but I doubt any of the older viewers know any of that. Any of the podcasts, or not the podcasts, but the hangouts that I watch. Yeah, go for it, Dave Talk Wild. 5 minutes if you want to jump on, go for it, man. I'd open it to William Shenchever too. If you're interested in joining the hangout, we don't have an Engelharth, so I guess it's let's let the viewers come on and talk if they want. I will send you the link. Just let me know where to send it. Where was my brain? Oh, my brain is just fucking fried right now. Man, it's seriously 105 degrees fucking heat. Oh, Jesus. And here's the interesting thing. So this is the first summer I've had to be awake through all of the heat. For the last few summers, like 3 or 4 summers, I was working graveyard shift, so I'd get off of work while it was nice and cool out, and then go to sleep. Man, dude, I don't think anybody on this hangout has ever been quality. Myself, Engelharth, 40 Mike, maybe Classfuls was really good if you watch some of the old stuff with him on it. But yeah, we're not like talking about super quality, man. They talk quite as worried about being sucky on the podcast thing. Don't worry about that, man. Just have fun with it. We do this for fun. Like, look, man, there are a lot of people on YouTube who get in here, who look at it as a way to make money. They want to build their channel. They want to get more viewers. And I have nothing but respect for that, man. If that's what you want to do it. It's a way that people do things, and I see nothing wrong with that. I just do this because I fucking got nothing better to do on a fucking Sunday night, and I like talking with my friends. I also do this because in like 20 years, I'd love to be able to like fucking go back. Hopefully YouTube is still online at that point. And I'd love to be able to go back and watch some of this shit and just laugh my ass off at what a dummy I am. So, I mean, let's face it, no matter what age you are, you always think you fucking know everything. Then when you were younger, you were stupid. So I figure in 20 years, that's not going to change. I'm going to think I'm way smarter in 20 years than I was at 37. So at like 57, I think I'm brilliant. And I was such a dummy at 37. I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. Then it should be hilarious to watch it and listen to it. I think everybody should go back and see some of the shit they came up with and thought was awesome way back in the day. I think you can kind of get a taste of that by watching old shows and movies that you thought were like the best comedy. After a while, like after a certain period of time, like dude, I think there's like a certain period of life everybody's got where they're like the dick and fart jokes are the fucking top-notch comedy. And then at a certain point, that just stops being as funny. It never stops being funny if you're a guy. It's always going to be at least somewhat funny. But it stops being like the piste de resistance or whatever. Like, I think I said that terribly. It stops being like the height of, good morning, Akinaro. Nice to see you. It stops being the height of comedy. You start wanting things a little more cerebral, a little more interesting. Akinaro. Mickey's Tao. Hey, what's up, guys? So we don't have Engelharth. If anybody is interested in joining, Dave Talk is trying to join into the Hangout. If anybody out there is still interested in joining the Hangout, let me know in the chat and tell me where I can send you the link. Yeah, just me again, Akino. And I'll say to the new guys, I did try actually just telling a story off the top of my head where I basically worked out like the broad strokes, but none of the details. And it turns out that's really fucking hard. So if there's anybody out there that does that, William Smith ever says the biggest thing he learned in 56 years is he didn't know anything. Yeah, no, dude. I'm 37 years. I'm pretty sure I don't know shit. I'll pretend though. Oh, you're too slow to join Nakanawa. Well, that's cool, man. Hey, dude, not everybody is going to be interested. What was I saying before? Shit. You know, it's interesting. Dave Cross says, since I realized around the age of 25 that I really did that shit, I've tried to keep that mentality. Um, I, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think the human brain stops, it is fully mature until like 24, 25. Like your body gets to a fully mature point where it can like pump out babies in one way or another, either like making things pregnant or fucking keeping them in your tummy or whatever. But it's big words I use as an adult. Keeping the baby in your tummy. But yeah, I think your brain doesn't really fully finish maturing until 25, 24, 25 or something like that. I could be wrong. Somebody can correct me if they want. Taking a drink here. What else? I think that's the same for everybody at every age, for the most part. A lot of people think they're the smartest person. I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I'm the only one in the room right now. That's unfortunate. Oh man, I saw an interesting video of a guy who went to Japan to work as an English teacher, and apparently this is extremely popular, especially amongst weeaboos. Yeah, it might just be the part that makes rational decisions, day trois that isn't fully formed until 25. You could be very correct about that. It would explain a lot about my life. But no, this dude, he went to Japan and he had a terrible experience. This is an awful experience, apparently. Like, the company was absolutely dishonest with him and didn't make a lot of things known up front. Expected him to work for like at least a week without pay, but didn't inform him ahead of time. Like, hey, so you're going to get to Japan, you're going to have to pay rent, you're going to have to buy food and get everything all started up, and we're not going to pay you for the first week that you work here. And just a myriad of other issues. And I guess Japan's work week is something like insane. Like they doubled the workload that a teacher would normally have in any other situation. Probably tripled it for European workers. I think Europeans. Oh, making use of town. That's not a bad idea. I have to agree with the waiting for weed until you're 25. That's actually a pretty smart way to go. I'll joke about it all the time, but like in all reality, like in all seriousness, yeah. If you're going to smoke weed, you probably do want to wait until you're 25. LSD, on the other hand, can expand your mind, and you should definitely do that before you're 21, like I did. Because if you're doing the fucking have never done drugs and start with one, just fucking LSD is the way to go. Yeah. Sorry if I pause for a few minutes. It's because I'm reading chat because I don't have anybody in the thing to bounce off of. I can as to that, dude. I think that there is a certain amount of skills and maturity that are gained by what's the word? No, I assumed it was fucked up instead of decked up. He says, now I know some 15-year-olds that are more mature and do better decisions than most older people. It's all how life fucked you up and how fast you had to learn that it's not going to change. I think conflict, especially at younger ages, causes people to have to mature faster and to learn about consequences earlier, if that makes any sense. Weed and school don't mix well. I don't know, man. I've met some people who were real fucking smart who did a lot of drugs. in high school and got like real good grades. I knew like a girl who graduated top of her class and was high every day. So I mean, the thing is really it comes down to like the guy that created LSD. I want to see Timothy Leary famously said drugs are not for everybody. And it's like some people can handle it and some people can't. And it's just unfortunate if you can't handle it and you end up doing them and getting hooked. It's really sad. But yeah, some people just can't handle it and some people can. But in general, you're probably right. Although then again, school is kind of fucking lying at this point, really, isn't it? I mean, is it really that much of a fucking great thing? I mean, I don't know. I'm not in school, so I don't know. But it seems like a lot of the educational standards are really dropping pretty fucking hard. And some of the stuff they're teaching is just not true. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it depends on what state you're in the U.S. I don't know about other countries. I'm sure other countries maybe have good or bad school. I couldn't say. Not faster ice. Gosh, that's an interesting thought. And if only I could follow a train of thought, because I'm not fucking ready to pass out. But yeah, I don't know, man. It almost seems like you'd be better off these days with homeschooling, or at least a parent who's able to be active enough to participate in your education, to inform you of when your school is lying to you and to teach you how to deal with that. Like, yo, you need to get good grades. And sometimes you're going to have to say shit in papers and in class that isn't fucking true. You know it's not true. To make the teacher happy, in order to get a good grade. Because that's what matters. It doesn't matter what's right. You just got to fucking learn how to work the system. So I always got A's in college. Like in any class, I had to write a paper, and I didn't give a shit about what was true. I learned that on my own, and that's what mattered to me. But it didn't matter on a fucking paper. I just wrote whatever the teacher wanted to hear, because fucking that's just going to get you the A. I can says if you get bullied by a teacher in homeschooling, you were fucked. Yeah, that'd be pretty fucking funny. Like your mom's teaching you, but your dad just keeps fucking tripping you and taking your fucking milk money. Putting keep me signs on you, beating the shit out of you when your mom's not looking. That'd be pretty fucking funny. Not to you. I'm sure whoever's in that situation would be miserable, but the rest of us are getting a laugh. Really, at the end of the day, isn't that what really matters? Damn it. Oh, here we go. We got somebody joined up. Really?
Oh, shit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, if you have headphones and you can plug them
in. Yeah, no, I'm got headphones.
Oh, here we go.
Hold on, I got it on my phone. I'm still got it going.
Oh, that's going on. Okay.
Let me back out of that. Okay. Is there any way where I can not use the camera and I can put my little icon back up?
Yeah, I can turn that off for you right now.
All right, cool.
Your icon's up, and I'll give you controls so you can do that if you want to. It's the thing that looks like a control panel on the left-hand side of the screen.
Left-hand side. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and it should pop up a little thing with a microphone, and or at the top of your screen, it should have like a microphone, a little camera, and stuff that you can turn on and off.
Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, I probably won't mess with any of that, to be honest with you.
But hey, at this point, you're set perfectly, so you're probably better on that way.
Yeah, that'll never happen again. So beginner's luck.
Well, I turned off the camera, so you're set. Yeah, exactly. So hey, it's kind of cool to actually hear you in person as opposed to just type internet chat messages.
Yeah, just random chats here and there, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I did have something I wanted to bring up that I thought would be interesting. Ooh. Apparently in the UK, there was a new terrorist attack, but it was actually like a regular citizen of the UK who ran over a bunch of people as they left a mosque.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought that was
brush back the other way, huh?
Yeah, that was a little sad, but inevitable, too.
Yeah, people are going to get fed up, man. Especially with everybody kind of, refusing to blame Islam and that kind of shit. People are going to get fucking pissed, dude. It's definitely not the right route to take. Obviously, not helping the cause much, I wouldn't imagine. But
oh yeah, no, I'm sure it's gonna go over like fucking bees in the middle of a classroom.
right. Yeah, there'll be a lot more outrage than what you get for the actual Muslim Islam
Yeah, you're
motivated
right.
ones.
That ought to be interesting to see how much more news coverage it gets, and how much coverage.
I'm fairly certain it's going to go. Yeah, like I said, the left's going to go nuts with it.
Akinara wants to welcome our new guest, and he wants your name, address, and if you like child porn. Fucking Akinara.
God damn, dude.
Always helpful. Always helpful. Well, he introduced the other two people in the cast, Mike and Engelharth, who are less weeaboo than I am, who don't know as much about. I don't really watch a lot of anime, but I've seen a lot of different stuff from anime, and they had no idea what Lolicon was, and so he introduced that.
Yeah, I know next to nothing, man.
Oh, Lolicon is like animated child pornography, like it's a Japanese thing.
Oh God, yeah, okay.
It's pretty fucking gross, but if you've never heard of it and then suddenly you see it, it's a shock.
Right. Yeah, I think I can go the rest of my life and do without it.
I think it's actually illegal in the U.S. I'm not sure, but I want to say at least in a lot of states it probably is.
Yeah, I would think so. It'd be weird if it wasn't.
Well, it'd be weird. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's drawings, but I understand why people would be upset by it. But yeah, it's just like the freedom of
I
speech
guess it's definitely not as horrific as the real thing, obviously, but still fucking disturbing, man.
The freedom of speech part of me wants to be like, fucking, it's not a person, it's freedom of speech. Get the hell out. Just because I don't like the government controlling things, but the part of me that's like, it's pretty fucking gross.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. If there are studies that said like, hey, this prevents the real thing from happening, fuck yeah, but
there are some studies in Japan that suggest that it's very likely, but that's not the kind of thing that a lot of people want to study.
Yeah, that is a tough subject matter, man.
It's tough to be like, hey, so we'd really like you guys to give us a lot of money to research whether child pornography that's animated makes child molesters less likely to molest children.
Yeah, that is a tough sell, man.
That's not the grant that the government's going to be like, sure, we'll sign off on that.
Yeah. People would freak out on that. You're paying for what?
Yeah.
Go back to paying $6,000 for toilets and fucking leave that shit alone.
Yeah, I always loved that. Like nobody knew. Like we all know that shit was, what do you call it? Like just a cover for either funding black ops or for just going and lining people's pockets. But
right, kickbacks or more likely, or most of it probably going to fund shit that's off the books.
Yeah, that's what I've always figured. It was funny that a lot of people don't seem to get that, but. Mickey says there's worse than Lolicon. That's cool, Mickey. You can just not share me.
I am totally okay with being ignorant on about that, dude.
I'm pretty unflappable, but I'm good. I'll pass.
Fuck, I can't remember what I was fucking watching. Something the other day. I don't know why it's not entering my head, but it was something that was. God damn it! It was something that I found way more disturbing than I thought it would. God damn it. I don't know why the fuck I brought that up. Hey, let me talk about this thing that I can't fucking remember.
No, that happens a lot.
It may come to me, but I was like, I mean, this is kind of disturbing, but this is really fucking bugging me. Now I can't remember what the fuck it was. Okay, sorry. Derailed.
It's something that happens a lot on streams. There's until you get used to talking and knowing that like, yeah, this is going to be heard by other people. It's really easy to be like, oh, I desperately need this topic right now.
All right, start panicking and shit.
Oh yeah, man, that was happening to me for like the last 20 minutes. It's all good.
Now you seem to do pretty well by yourself, though, man. A lot better than most people.
I did delete the story that I tried to tell because that just went south within like.
Yeah, I missed that one. I was like, shit, I missed the stream, and then I saw the other one pop up.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything on that first one.
No.
I started it, and I freaking started. I got maybe 3 sentences into the story, and then just fucking it just train wrecked out where I just couldn't say anything anymore. I was like, well, fuck this, click.
Yeah, I noticed it wasn't available, so I figured something went wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I was thinking it'd be like making up a situation in D&D for your players, where you kind of come up with storyline because they just went and did something completely unexpected, and you got to desperately create a new circumstance for them to enjoy.
Oh yeah, have you ever seen this is related to that? Have you ever seen the you know who Pete Holmes is? The comedian / comedic actor or whatever?
No, I've never seen that.
Okay, he used to have a show on right after Conan on TBS, which like he's all right as a comic, like as a stand-up, but like his sketches and shit were fucking hilarious, man. Like he had one that he was like he was playing, like all his friends and shit played D&D, and then he was like, all right, well I'm gonna play with you this one time, and then he'd go in there and like did exactly what you're talking about, like doing shit that was completely unexpected. They're like, okay, you go into a tavern, there's a wizard, and he's got an orb that he's talking into. And then he's like, all right, well, what I'm going to do is take a seat on the far end of the room from that wizard. And they're like, what? You don't want to go up and talk to him? He's like, no, I don't want to go up and talk to some weird guy talking into an orb. I want to be as far away from that guy as possible. So like he kept doing shit like that. He's like, all right, and now I just want to kind of sit there and just kind of soak in the vibe. And then he fucking rolls the dice for that. And he's like, okay, yeah, you successfully soaked in the vibe.
Oh, that's kind of it almost sounds like he realized what was going on at a certain point and just was like, fuck it, I'm going to mess this shit up.
Yeah. No, he had a lot of funny shit. He had the, he did the X-Men or EX-Men thing where it was Professor Xavier firing all the X-Men, telling them how much they suck.
That's got to be pretty good. I can see that one.
Yeah. Or the Street Fighter ones. He did ones on the Street Fighter where he's pretending he's like the HR person for the Street Fighter tournaments and bringing in all the characters and stuff.
I can imagine like the medical insurance like on that would just be fucking nightmarish.
Yeah, it's that kind of shit too. Or like when he brings in Chun-Li, he's just fucking hitting on her the whole time.
All right, I'm looking for something right now because your thing about D&D just reminded me of something. There is actually at least one site on Tumblr that's not bad. Let's see here. I'm just looking for one of the shorter little things. Essentially, this guy animates people's, what do you call it? Silly D&D stories. Because like every D&D game is different.
Right.
People, you'll have different things. Like I used to team kill my team a lot when I was a player and not a DM, and that didn't. Oh, here we go. Let me screen share here. Let's take a second. So this is your D&D stories.tumblr.com, and you can just search up like D&D stories. And here we have a goblin character was hired to exterminate the rats living inside a dusty old opera house. He's got it animated. It says "can do." I don't know how well people can see this, so I'm gonna like read this out. But when he got there, he realized there were too many rats to deal with. And it shows little rats in the audience. He decided that fire was the only solution. It shows him lighting that place on fire. This ended up exactly how you'd expect. And the guy saying, I'm obviously not going to pay you. And the goblin responding, "It stopped being about money." Yeah, essentially, it's just a bunch of stories like that. There's one that's a good one on here. I don't remember where it is, but it's a dwarf that just rips his shirt off over everything until eventually there's just no more shirts in the world. Because the GM got tired of it and decided, all right, there's no more fucking shirts, man. You're done.
Oh, damn. Oddly enough, it just surprises me more than anybody, but I've never actually played D&D, dude.
It's a lot of fun. It can be. It's tough to find a group, especially when you're like older and shit.
Right.
Like, I mean, after I hit 30, it's just like there's not a lot of people who are like, yeah, let me fucking spend one of my nights doing that, because most people have like kids and stuff.
Yeah, you gotta have a group that's pretty. I would imagine having pretty dedicated, especially the dungeon masters. Got to come up with a lot of fucking shit, a lot of variables and all that, right?
It's actually surprisingly not as hard. I just recently started DMing for the first time in a very long time, and I realized that you can come up with encounters. Like an encounter would essentially be, the players fight a certain type of monster or certain monsters or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And all you really have to do is just come up with a story that justifies whatever encounter, and then your players can do whatever they want to do, but they just use that encounter in a different way. So instead of it being like in order to get into this castle they got to fight these guys, it might be like they reach the cave, and in order to escape the cave, they got to fight those guys to get out instead.
Yeah.
So the hard work you can do ahead of time and just plan out a bunch of different kind of encounters.
Yeah. So unless somebody is going completely off the grid with it, it should be fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, you just have to ride the fucking wave. Whatever happens, happens.
Roll with it. Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I think I team killed is because the DMs I played at that point where I was still in high school, and like at a certain point they're like, you know what, fuck you, I'm done with your shit. I'm done with your shenanigans. I'm not interested anymore. And it would be like things like, they had planned out like this really intricate puzzle in a mine, and there were all these buttons to some archaic machine, and my character just went in and pushed them all. Because he was like a chaotic thief or something like that, and he got there first because he was the one breaking into the room, and everybody else is like, God damn it, not again. And they're just like, all right, fucking the whole mine explode. Good for you. Let's start over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't want it to be too intricate then. Like, fuck this, I'm not figuring it out. I'm pressing everything.
You can make things that are intricate, and I'd say as a DM, it's a lot of fun to do that. You just have to accept that they might never even see it, and that you just hold on to that, and maybe you'll throw it out sometime later on, or it just never gets used.
Yeah. You go through all this planning, and then they fucking skip around it somehow.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, there's even a couple times the players who I was playing with just recently who just did things I did not expect. I was like, oh, okay, that'll be interesting, and see what happens.
So if something like that, you pretty much have to kind of just make it up, right? And fucking, yep. Yeah, gotcha.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think who is it? Fudge. I don't know if you're familiar with Fudge Muppet. They do a bunch of like Skyrim content and shit. But I guess
watched a video from them not that long ago. Something about like the strongest sword you can make or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they do a lot of that kind of stuff, or like the destruction skills per tree, is it worth it, and that kind of shit. Or they'd create their own characters with their own backstories and shit and that kind of thing too. But now they're doing like a Dungeons and Dragons thing based off of the Elder Scrolls stuff.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it seems like it's.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say it's something that should have probably happened a long time ago, really. They go together pretty well, I'd imagine.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine. And the newest system for D&D is ridiculously simple compared to a lot of the older stuff. So It's really easy to just bring things from other stuff into... Oh, I thought I was your favorite YouTube channel, Miggy. Miggy's house says he loves Fudge Muppet. It's his favorite YouTube channel. But it makes it really easy to bring other things in and make them part of the game.
Right. Yeah. And that's definitely, they're one of the ones that I watch almost every episode of. So, yeah, it's a good channel, man.
It's almost like golf to me. I love playing video games, but I used to watch a lot more of it. I just don't really watch a lot of video game plays anymore.
Yeah, well, theirs is not so much like let's play type things. It's more like you said, they'll invent the character with this weird backstory, and they'll just talk about, whatever they built into the character, like whether it's a mage or a fucking Khajiit character that fights with his hands, or shit like that.
That sounds interesting, almost like Red versus Blue in a way.
Red versus Blue. I'm not familiar.
Red versus Blue was the Rooster Teeth. I don't know if you've ever heard of Rooster Teeth, but they did probably one of the first. They're not the first, but one of the first. What do you call it? Where you take video game characters and make like a show out of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, kind of, yeah, yeah. But it's pretty good. It's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, they did that with Halo. They basically wrote scripts and made characters and acted it out in Halo on video games in order to make the show.
Oh, gotcha. That's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, similar to that, but it's mostly the gameplay doesn't exactly match up. Like it'll show the character, but it's not really matching up to what they're telling the backstory or whatever. But it's still pretty good. It's pretty entertaining.
The most I ever did on Skyrim that would go anywhere towards that was like after a while you get bored and you start making up your own goals. And so every one of my characters would eventually have like one town that was just like, this town is going to be naked. You learn how to pickpocket the best you can, and you steal everybody's clothes over and over and over until they just give up. So then it's
Actually, I was literally just doing that on Skyrim, dude. I got my fucking pickpocketing up so I could fucking pickpocket everybody. So everybody's walking around in fucking bikinis and loincloths.
damn straight. What was the game I played not long ago? I'm playing Ark right now with Engelharth and another guy. And fucking now when you take your armor and stuff off in Ark, it censors your body.
And like blurs it, or
yeah, like blurs it out. So the other characters see a blurred version of your body. Like you see your own character, but if you see another character with its clothes off or armor off, it's blurred out. It's pretty funny.
That was crazy.
It was really unexpected because it was just like, what? But yeah, no, video game. I guess they thought it would be funny, and it actually turned out to be quite amusing. Okinawa calls it out. It's called machinima, is the word I was looking for. When you take a video game and make a show out of the characters.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of machinima that was done with Minecraft too.
I think I saw one with. Do you like Rick and Morty at all, or not really?
I've never seen Rick and Morty, but I really want to. I just don't know where to see it.
Oh wow! Yeah, I think they have clips on YouTube. If not, you can go to. Do you have DirecTV or anything like that, or no?
I think we're on like Comcast.
Yeah, I think any of those. Usually, you can go in and download like the Adult Swim app, like on your phone or whatever, and you can usually watch the episodes on your past episodes on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I know I can do that with DirecTV, and usually it has a list of like Cox or Comcast or all the different providers. So you should be able to go in and, like I said, usually you'd have to go through like the not the cartoon. It would be not Cartoon Network, but the Adult Swim app, and usually you can watch the episodes on there. But yeah, it's pretty fucking twisted, dude. So I kind of would expect you to be into it, but again, I suggest checking it out, but not required to like it, obviously.
Well, from what I heard, it's a take on the characters from what do you call it? Back to the Future, right?
Yeah, vaguely. The original one was called Doc and Marty, like the original short that he did, which was really fucking. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. Like I said, I've seen like clips and stuff, but I've never seen the whole thing. And from the clips, it looks like a great show.
Right. Yeah. No, I fucking love it, dude. Yeah. No, I like it a lot. But yeah, even the original one. Are you familiar with anything that Justin Roiland has done, or not really?
I don't know who Justin Roiland is.
he's the main guy. Like him and Dan Harmon were the two main ones, but it was really mainly Justin Roiland's based on his Doc and Marty thing. But like on the Doc and Marty thing, like it was like Roiland is pretty fucking twisted, man. Like the whole thing is like the Doc character is telling Marty, you gotta suck my balls in order for us to travel in time. Like it's fucking twisted, dude. But
it sounds
yeah,
like
if you check it out, if you just search out Justin Roiland like on YouTube, there's a lot of weird fucking shit, dude. That I think there's a good chance you'd be into. They have one called the Unmarketables, where it's these fucking characters that are just fucking too weird to fucking be able to be commercially successful. But the whole show is based around them, kind of.
Sounds interesting. Yeah, he sounds like his comedy is right up my alley.
Yeah. So there's quite a bit on YouTube that he has going.
Oh wow, okay. I haven't seen it on YouTube usually because I don't watch TV. I just watch YouTube.
All right, yeah. Let me see what it pulls up. I'm just gonna type in Roiland. It's Roiland, Roiland.
Yeah, I just actually searched it on YouTube and left that up because I'm like, oh yeah, I'll check that out later.
Okay. Roiland TV, I think it might be, but I think just Roiland should work. Yeah. Oh yeah, he was on the H3 podcast just a few months back. They did crank calls on that one. He's fucking hilarious.
Oh wow, so I wonder where that's from because depending on the state, I know it's illegal to do that because there was a big thing with. I don't know if you've ever heard of Crank Yankers, but it was a Comedy Central.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, it was a Comedy Central show that was all basically puppets, and they just acted out with puppets prank phone calls that they did with.
Was it Jimmy Kimmel?
Jimmy Kimmel?
It was Jimmy Kimmel. Was it Adam Carolla? Carolla did some of them. I don't think he was the main one. Who was the other main? There was two main dudes. Like Jim Florentine would do a few. He did the I got mail. That was Jim Florentine. He's pretty good. Fuck. Who's the other main guy? God damn it.
I remember Jimmy Kimmel because he was on the Man Show with Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
And then they ended up screwing over Joe Rogan and Doug Stanhope into doing like another season of the Man Show, and they were like, we don't want to do that, we want to do our own show, and they got kind of like wrangled into pissing off everybody who ever watched the Man Show.
Yeah, that was a tough act to follow, even for the like. I like those two guys a lot. I don't know how you feel about them, but I fucking love Stanhope and Rogan.
I watch Rogan's podcast all the time. If anybody does a podcast that I'll actually listen to religiously, it's Rogan.
Yeah. A lot of people a lot of the YouTubers I watch like fucking talk shit about him. I'm like, he's actually especially being in the fucking comic world, like he's pretty open minded and he fucking, he doesn't toe that fucking SJW line at all.
Well. He what's interesting to me about Joe Rogan is he's always open to hear new ideas and stuff. And I think people really sell him short when they talk shit because sometimes he won't agree with what they want him to agree with. Mm-hmm. Because he'll be like, you know what, I'm willing to hear somebody else say something from a different angle. And if it's not something that I already agree with, I'll still give them the respect that they, I'll still be respectful when they're on my show, kind of thing. Because it's like, how is he going to keep getting guests if every time somebody comes on with something even slightly controversial to his audience, he just turns around and is like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Like, no, that's not what we think, Joe. Like they're supposed to have the fucking. The shit's getting so much like the fucking whatever the SJW and the anti-SJWs. Their fucking behavior is getting so much alike now, man. It's fucking sucks.
It's the horseshoe theory. It's the extremism, essentially.
Yeah, but their behaviors and tactics and shit are getting so similar, dude. Ugh.
What was it?
It's not as bad there. Still.
I just saw a thing on Twitter. Like, I guess there's a group of people supposedly, and I don't know the details, so if I'm fucking wrong and somebody gets mad at me, fine, be angry. Don't educate me, just be really angry. Tell me I'm an asshole later. It's cool. But I don't know all the details, but I believe there's this group of people who are trying to normalize pedophilia.
Oh my God.
To the point where, they think children should be able to make, the choice of whether or not to be molested. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. And if they are doing it, that's really gross. But some people have been, basically, doing everything they can to research it and get the group taken offline and, I guess, report stuff to the FBI.
Right.
I've seen a couple of things where they're naming people, and I'm kind of like, you're not the fucking cops, man. What if you're...
Yeah, it should really just be turning it into the... I mean, if there's one group, if you had to pick a group that's okay to dox, that would probably be it. But even then, you should just be turning it in. Yeah, everybody's going to find out about it. They're going to go underground and fucking... You know what I mean?
The other thing.
More likely something's actually going to get taken care of and getting them arrested and shit.
Well, a lot of times the FBI will leave a site up and running in order to collect information on as many of the people as they can so that they can bust all of the users of the site.
Right. Get as many as they can.
If you're doxing and you're correct, and you're doxing like one or two of the people, then good for you. You've sent, dozens underground who the FBI might have had a chance to look into, who might have been committing crimes.
Right.
Who they might have been able to wrap up if they'd been able to let the site run a little longer, as disgusting as that may be to you.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to be patient. You know what I mean? Like you want it to fucking stop, but yeah, it's a hard thing to be patient about.
They can't tell you like, hey, look, man, I get that you're angry, but like we have information and we're getting more and we're about to arrest like a dozen people.
Right.
They can't tell you that because it's like it would just be a total compromise of what they do.
Yeah.
But the other thing
is, it is disturbing.
You're fucking wrong. Like that's something that, like that kind of accusation, if people believe it, that somebody could lose friends, family, spouse. They could lose their job.
Yeah, like it's something you better be really fucking sure about.
That accusation.
Yeah, even if there's a retraction, no matter how much you could scream a retraction, that initial stigma is going to stick, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people who hear that and like, oh, you're a fucking pedo sympathizer. No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, even after the fact, they might either not hear the retraction or hear the retraction and just think, oh, we just got away with it. Like, it's fucking, yeah, it's one of those things that is a tough thing. That's why, like you said, you should just turn it into the authorities. They'll do it right.
And get as much information as you can and keep turning in more and more every time you get more. Like there's nothing wrong with that, and I applaud the people who do that. I think that's great work to do. I just, I did see a thing on like a website that was on Twitter. I don't remember who posted it, so and even if I did, I wouldn't say. But it linked to like a video where they were talking about it, and they were definitely naming names, and I was like, you better be right, man.
Yeah,
because it's entirely possible in this day and age, man. It would take somebody who knows computers maybe 15 minutes to change their IP address to whatever they freaking want it to be.
Right. Yeah, it's too easy to fake everything nowadays, man.
Yeah. You get a picture off somebody's Facebook, where, you can, from that, you can also know where they are. So you can make an IP address that's to that general area and just do all your online stuff with that picture and that IP. And you're done. And it's not that hard to do. I'm an idiot, and even I could do that. It'd take me substantially more than 15 minutes, like some computer guy. It may take me a couple of hours, but
Right, it can be done.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine it's frustrating even for people that do that for a living, that have to sit on that and are trying to collect as much. Because fucking kids are being abused in the meantime. Like that's got to be a hard thing to fucking balance, dude. That's got to be a fucking.
I've worked in mental health for 12 years, and there have been occasions in which I've had to work with people who have molested kids. And I got to say, it's not easy to work with people who've done that. But it's not as black and white as a lot of people think, at least in the field I'm in. A lot of times it had to do with the mental illness and not necessarily a conscious choice.
Right.
And so there's a lot of stuff that's involved. It gets real fucking dark. And I've heard a lot of stories from both sides of that particular line. And it's like, there's no easy answers. Everybody wants there to be an easy answer, and there just isn't one.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with, especially like me, like it's being a drug addict. I understand obsession, at least. Like, I don't understand being attracted to kids, but I understand obsession. So I can sympathize a little, especially ones that have that fucking urge but never act on it. Like, that's pretty admirable. That's really fucking admirable in my opinion, to fucking be attracted to have that fucked up attraction and know it's wrong and never act on it. But, I definitely understand how obsession is not that easy to just fucking dismiss. So a little sympathy, but I mean, something like that, how fucking wrong it is.
Oh, I think people at a certain point delude themselves into thinking that it's not wrong. Like they slowly over time convince themselves that no, it's okay because this and that and the other thing.
Yeah, that's what's sickening. It seems like in the old days they at least had the decency to be ashamed of,
I think those are mostly sociopathic people.
Right.
Sociopaths who
just don't feel anything for anybody or make excuses, and nothing's ever their fault. They never do anything wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing they really get off on is the control, and that's where I think a lot of the myth of the any kind of child abuse isn't sexual in nature. It's just about being in control, and it's about power, and that's really not an accurate statement. There are certain people who are just born, and that's who they're sexually attracted to as kids. And as hard as it is to hear, that makes sense from an evolutionary perspective. The person who was sleeping with whoever youngest was more likely to eventually impregnate somebody and pass on their genes.
Like as soon as possible at the youngest.
Yeah. When people were cavemen, I'm sure there was no fucking, like, what do you call it? Age of consent. Like, in the caveman days, there was anything like that.
No laws, yeah. But yeah, no, I'm just glad I didn't get whatever that fucking shit is.
Oh yeah, I can honestly. Like 300 years ago, it was normal to marry a kid below 15. Yeah, that's right. That wasn't that long. But I mean, that's just one of those things. I think you go to different countries, it still is. There's some places like the age consent is like fucking 14, and that's in like first.
I think it's as low as 12, dude. I think there's countries where it's as low as 12.
Well, I was talking about like first world countries. I think like in like the Middle Eastern areas, it can go as low as 12.
Yeah. I think Germany's is really low, like 14 or 15 or something.
Yeah, Germany I think is 14.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts to me, dude. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, but let's not point the finger too far afield, because there was a lot of that kind of stuff going on in the Mormon communities.
Yeah, this is true.
And that's one of those things that's sort of like backwoods Mormons, not the mainstream Mormons. Obviously, not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the freaking crazy Mormons that live out on the compounds. We're like selling their freaking kids to like old men at like age 12 or 13 and marrying them off.
Right, those 5th and 6th wives and shit like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that shit's nuts. I know a lot of ex-Mormons, dude. Yeah, if you're in rehab or recovery or whatever, going to meetings, you meet a lot of ex-Mormons, dude.
I knew a Mormon kid who used to have the best weed. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of lapsed Mormons too.
Right, Jack Mormons or just straight up ex-Mormons.
Oh, this kid.
It's weird.
He was all about being a Mormon, but he would drink and smoke weed all the time. He was just like, I don't really care.
Yeah,
like, I don't think God cares, but I'm a Mormon and I believe in everything else.
Right. Yeah, that one's pretty wacky. Although, again, what religion isn't fucking wacky? Just because the fucking wacky shit came out a couple thousand years ago, as opposed to 100 years ago.
There are documented cases of the person who created Mormonism defrauding people. He went to jail for fraud at one point. I mean, that's not.
Yeah, dude, you've seen the South Park episode of that, right?
No, actually, I've never really watched South Park either. I'm a terrible person who never really watched TV.
Yeah, but they do an episode where they fucking kind of tear it down. It's pretty fun.
Well, didn't they do a whole freaking musical?
Yeah, but that was the funny part. It was like the little, what do you call it? The refrain or whatever, for whatever little thing they were singing was always dumb, da-dum, dum, dum. Like saying it's fucking dumb or whatever. It was fucking hilarious.
Well, I meant like a Broadway musical. Wasn't there
oh, yeah.
One about Mormonism?
Yeah, I think those guys, they did. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, they did some kind of Broadway show with it.
Yeah. I remember hearing a lot about that. That actually sounded like I wish I'd seen that, but I don't know that they're ever going to make a video or anything about that.
It'd be interesting.
One of the other interesting things I thought was the Lacey Green thing that just amazed me from the skeptical community, because here's this opportunity where somebody's like, hey, I'm open for conversation. She never said, oh, I'm changed my fucking ways. I'm an anti-SJW or anything like that. She never said anything even remotely inferring it.
I think she wanted people to think that, but then she could always go back and say, I never actually said that. But I think she deliberately inferred it.
She did the clickbait title, like, did I take the red pill? Mm-hmm. And it was like, essentially, it was very obviously like she wanted to get views out of it. Like, but what she said in the video, she never said that she's like anti-feminist.
Yeah. I doubt she's unhappy about that confusion, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure. There's a lot of money in that.
Right.
No shame in that game. I'm not going to criticize somebody for making money out of even a little bit of clickbaity stuff. You know, even the clickbait stuff, like I don't like when I click on it, but you know what? Somebody's making money. I'm not going to, you know, whatever, man.
Yeah, I just I couldn't believe the some of the reactions from the supposedly skeptic people, especially well, I don't want to name specific people. Although
Yeah,
it probably
never a
doesn't
good idea to
matter.
name specific people.
But some people, are a certain person, they were talking on, it was somebody else's stream, but they were saying like, it's her management company. Lacey had nothing to do with that DMCA thing with Roaming Millennial. And I was like,
Oh,
what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, she has a bunch of tweets and made videos, you know, talking shit to Philip DeFranco about it and all this other shit. Like, how can you say she didn't have anything to do with it or didn't know about it? You know, I'm like, that's well beyond being skeptic, dude. That's just you know, thinking somebody's a friend and sticking up for him blindly. Like, that's SJW type shit, dude.
I heard somebody talking on a stream, and this I thought was really funny. And they were like, well, I invited Lacey Green to be on the stream, and it wasn't very likely that she would have shown up in the first place because it's a relatively small channel.
Right.
But the other thing is, I mean, bigger than my channel for sure, but not that big of a channel to get Lacey Green on. And the other thing for sure that I thought was funny was, and I explained it, and I said that she just needs to justify, you know, such and such and such and such. And after I heard him say that, I'm like, what do you mean she needs to justify that to you? She doesn't have to justify fucking anything.
Yeah, she doesn't owe me a goddamn thing, but I mean, she should at least acknowledge. I think she should at least acknowledge that she fucked up by doing that. I think, you know, to them, not me. I don't need shit from her, dude. She ain't done nothing to me. But she was involved, dude.
I just look. It's one thing to say like, "Hey, I'd love to have like a debate or a spirited discussion with Lacey Green, and I'd love to talk to her about this, that, and the other thing, and I'd love to hear what she has to say about it." But it's another thing to be like, and she needs to justify this, and this. Because at the end of the day, she really doesn't. She just decide not to say anything. And if you want her to be on your show, that sure as shit is not the way to get it done.
Right.
You know? Right. I wouldn't show up, but I'm a nice guy. I'd love to get into that kind of debate with somebody, but I'm not going to fucking show up. That's the way you're talking.
Right. Like knowing from the get-go somebody's just out to fucking try to slam you.
Yeah. Well, I've made fun of, what's his name, Jeff Holiday a couple times. I love the dude, but he's not the brightest when it comes to like facts. He's not always, and he doesn't always know the facts that he thinks he knows. But he's
that totally wasn't who I was talking about earlier, by the way.
Oh no, I'm sure this is just a totally changed thing. But I will say that he is very intelligent in the way he deals with people and the way he is open to like just having civilized discussions. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
although again, I think he's incredibly naive too. Like it's weird. On one hand, he seems really really street smart and all that shit. And some other shit seems incredibly naive, man.
It's the hippie. It's the hippie getting out.
It's the wanting everyone to be great people, or I could have explained that better, but assuming the best in people when.
Yes, there is a certain point at which it's like, look, I understand that you want to assume the best in people as just a matter of course in order to be a better person. But there comes a point in time where you have to be like, rationally, that just doesn't make sense all the time.
Yeah, especially when it comes to Lacey, because in my opinion, her past behavior has not earned her the benefit of the doubt at all going forward. You know, I mean, she's done some shitty shit.
Oh, I'm all for challenging her about stuff and getting on and getting right up in her grill about things. Absolutely. You know, especially when it comes to ideas or things that were just really, really fucked up. I just don't think that she's going to show up anywhere because people are saying, you know, the way that people are talking.
Yeah. It's like one extreme or the other. It's like they're just blindly letting her in, giving her a pass completely, or we need to fucking attack her about this shit. Like there's somewhere in the middle. Obviously, is a place to be at on that.
It's why I've slowly, I think, withdrawn from watching a lot of the stuff on either side.
Yeah, me too.
Because the animosity and the extremist type behavior and stuff has kind of gotten to the point where it's like, Man, you're just taking this way too far. Like, I get that you're not happy with somebody saying something, but like at a certain point, fucking, you can't make them not say it. So if you're just gonna live your life pissed off about it, that seems like a little bit unhealthy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's been an interesting. Did you catch the whole Candid fucking bullshit a few months back?
Candid. Oh, that was the thing with Armored Skeptic, right?
Yeah.
Where he
Armored
and like
Skeptic shit.
Shoe on Head were like pimping it out and basically signed a contract, and so did I think.
Yeah, at first they didn't really disclose it properly, and yeah.
Well, they were contractually obligated not to, from what I understand. Like they weren't actually allowed to say that like this is what I have to say via contract for a certain period of time.
Well, they're supposed to they're required, from what I understand, they're required to disclose clearly that they're sponsored though, and they didn't really do that. Like they left a little bit. Oh, by the way, this is sponsored at the end of the video, or
no, they don't. You're not required to. It's just considered good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not a channel. You would have to disclose that information to YouTube itself, but not to your viewers.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because so it's just situations under which YouTube is supposed to get a chunk of that money.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I had assumed that was like, well, not quite law, but I thought it was a requirement. It's she either way. You know what I mean?
No, it absolutely is.
Yeah. But yeah, the way those guys handled that, like I just could not. I was just like, I can't have anything. Well, honestly, Armored Skeptic, in my opinion, was on his way out, or on his content and his quality was going down before that happened, in my opinion. So yeah, I couldn't follow him anymore.
He's off like a chick,
No, he's gotten way worse. Oh my god, dude. No, if you go back and watch his old shit, it's actually really good. Really, he didn't fall in love with himself like he has now.
Well, I found out about him because I saw some Shoe on Head stuff, and then she was meeting him and talking about him, and I was like, "Oh, who's this dude? I'll check him out." So that's when I found out about him. That's when they were starting.
Oh, gotcha.
And so then I was like, "Holy shit!" Like that's fucked up. Because I've never been like, I'm not a person in the skeptic community because I'm not really. That's not what I do. For the most part, like I'll bullshit and just talk about stuff, but I've never been like, I did a couple of videos on my personal channel where I kind of did a little bit of that, but then I was just like, that's not for me. That's not my style.
Mm-hmm.
And on YouTube, for the most part, a lot of what I watch are like people that are like traveling around and living out of their van or like sailboat, or people that are doing tiny houses, or I watch a lot of like dance videos, like instructional dance videos. And
all right, the first few sounded interesting, and the last one came out of left field, dude.
I spent a number of years doing swing dance, blues dance, and occasionally a little bit of like mixed ballroom, like salsa and waltz and stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I am really out of shape right now, getting back in shape to the point where I can go dancing again. And so I'm just keeping boned up on like what kind of stuff people are doing. So like I'll watch stuff that teaches you how to do like blues dance moves or like swing dance moves and that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And I was at the point where if I was inclined towards teaching, I could have started becoming a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, I could have taught blues and swing dance and probably made money off of it.
Wow.
If I was a teacher. Unfortunately, I'm just not very good at teaching.
I'm kind of the opposite. I probably have the stuff. I worked at a daycare when I was younger. It was actually my friend's mom who ran it at a Catholic school here. And they told me all the time that I should become a teacher. And I was like, it doesn't pay enough. I basically pretty much told them that. I'm like, it doesn't pay enough money. Like,
oh, yeah, no. Teaching is fucking shit pay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, I ended up going into sales, and there's quite a few months where I felt really fucking guilty about how much money I made, dude. I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. I did a sales job, and I couldn't handle it. Right. Yeah, it depends. Sears Auto. At where?
Sears Auto Center, selling tires.
Oh, shit. That's got to be a tough.
I was a tire changer for like a couple of years as my first job. And I decided to get into sales because they make more money. And I worked on sales for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. And I saw people, like grown men, ready to like fucking cut a bitch over like 50 cents.
Wow.
A commission of 50 cents. Because on average, for a commission you would get on a set of tires would be $1.50, $2. And the work wasn't even a set of tires. It would just be like, a belt or something, and you might make a quarter or 50 cents off an average sale. And these dudes would do whatever they could to get somebody else's 50-cent commission, and they would swear at each other under their breath behind the counter and make all these threats. And I was just like,
wow,
I just don't want to live that life. Thank you, but no.
No, it's I guess I was lucky. Most of the places I worked, there was really very little of that going on.
I'm sure it was the worst case scenario.
Yeah. Well, also places I worked, commissions were a lot more than that. Once it seems like that should make it worse, but I think we were all making enough money to. Yeah, like I sold wireless phones and service. I worked for Verizon.
And, you probably work in a much more pleasant environment too, though.
Yeah, and they kind of had rules on that. They're like, look, even if someone comes back in, if they said they talked to someone, they get the credit, or we'd split it up fair. Like if somebody came in and bought 3 different lines of phone, 3 different phones, and you're ringing it up for someone else, you're keeping at least one of those, maybe even 2 of them. For yourself, because you're doing all the work, depending on how much they were already informed. Like most places I worked, we were pretty good about it. And plus, like I said, we were all making, pretty decent money then too, because we were making good, Jesus. Yeah, I made between about 55 to 65 grand a year for a good 10 years there. So
that's not bad.
No, and well, especially where I was living. I was living, up north. I'm in Arizona. I don't know if they told that. Obviously not here yet, but I moved up north to Flagstaff for a couple of years, and I had more money than I knew what to fucking do with. Man, it was crazy.
In California, that'd probably get you a shitty apartment, and you would be barely making it.
Yeah, that's that's what always kept me, because I always wanted to live in. I hate LA, but I love San Diego. I love the San Diego area. And, yeah, Carlsbad. I was just there actually a couple weeks ago. My mom has one of those timeshare thingies, fucking whatever, right there in Carlsbad next to Legoland. And yeah, it's a really nice spot. And I've always wanted to live there. Traffic is not nearly as bad as LA. It's kind of bad, but it's nowhere as bad. It's fucking crazy as LA. And I don't know. Everybody just always seemed to be in a good mood wherever I went. I've always wanted to live there, but then I talked to people in Phoenix that had moved from there because it's the ridiculous cost of living, and I was young enough where I didn't understand that concept. I was maybe 19 or 20, and didn't understand that. Hey, where people want to live, they generally charge more money for that land. You know what I mean? That concept was not, I'm not stupid, but I was just unaware of it, So, I was like, fuck, how do I do this? And that's where I actually came up with the idea. I never actually did it, but I always wanted to buy a shitty RV and just be able to fucking drive wherever the fuck I felt like living.
That's exactly the van videos that I like.
Right.
I'm actually part of why I want to get in shape is I want to get to a point where I don't have to take as many blood pressure medications.
Right.
So I'm fucking out of shape. Get off of those and get into a van and potentially do a lot more traveling. Find a job I can do online and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of out for me because I got the kid now. But yeah, for the longest time, I really, really had an urge to do it. My friends would make fun of me about it, dude. And I'm like, dude, it's fucking. At the time I was single, and why not, dude?
Well, and how much a better perspective would you have just knowing how much the same and how much different all these different places are that you get to go check out?
Yeah. It was the whole idea. I kind of wanted to I definitely wanted to spend some time, obviously, in the San Diego area, but kind of wanted to just kind of drive up the coast and then, get up into Oregon and Washington, then head inland, go through Montana, move all the fuck over the place, dude, and just fucking kind of experience the country.
Oh, and welcome 40 Mike to the show.
Yay.
Welcome. How are you doing, man?
I'm all right.
All right. And I was just me. Engelharth was gone. That's why we have random people on that we might have on again.
I have also independently come up with the RV idea where it's like
It's appealing, man.
just go somewhere else and chill for a while. And then when you get tired of that place, go somewhere else again.
Yeah, just easy. Just fucking roll your house on down the road, dude.
And even if I end up never actually doing it, I really enjoy watching channels. I'm actually going to pimp 2 channels out of people who do that. And it's fun to live vicariously through them on YouTube. And that's Enigmatic Nomadics.
They're brave enough to do it.
Yeah, and Cheap RV Living. Two really good channels.
Just dreaming about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to keep the dream alive. If you're going to actually start working towards it, you should at least see what you're working towards. Make sure you still want to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really never too late, man.
Or go find a deserted island somewhere and just claim it.
Oh, I want to discover something. I don't want to do the work, but I want to discover something so I can name it. So I want to name it like no bullshit. I want to name it McStabby Pants, so that has to be in a textbook somewhere.
Nice.
Okay.
Just so that somewhere, someday, some teacher's going to have to be like, and that's the McStabby Pants.
You should find you should find an exoplanet, and then someday humans will have to live on McStabbies.
McStabby Pants.
There's probably still some stars out there that need names, dude.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of those.
Might take a little longer to make it into textbooks, like millions of years probably, but hey, you'll get there.
Star naming registry, but it's not actually connected with anything real. They just
it's just nonsense.
Yeah,
and when I first saw it, I was like,
money.
I was so happy when I first saw it. I was like, oh my god, that's amazing.
You can buy land on the moon.
It just didn't matter. I was like, oh fuck, never mind. But there was going to be a McStabby Pants star for a little bit until I realized that it was all bullshit.
Right.
Well, if it makes you feel any better at all, even if you didn't go through that system, it's still all just made up bullshit.
Yeah, oh no, I know.
Like any name they give to it scientifically, that's still just made up by someone.
Oh man, this is actually a little bit off kilter here, but I watched this video about the magical cure-alls that the people will come up with, and it's
Hold on. You're gonna say off kilter on this channel.
Yeah, I got a little internal chuckle on that one too, but go ahead.
Okay, continue.
Abby, no.
Yeah, I can't keep a fucking train of thought for very long. It was some sort of freaking like seasoning oil. I forget what it was. Like it was like a black cumin oil or something like that. That was supposed to cure everything from cancer to death.
Oh,
and,
dude.
I left a comment on there about like, I've raised rabbits and I got some smart pills I can sell you. And the channel itself responded with, "Oh, thank you for the information," but it was marked as spam. Like,
okay.
How dishonest does your channel have to be marked as spam on your own goddamn channel?
Wow.
It was so like freaking. What do you call that? Meta.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't that oil, then it's energy crystals or.
Well, at least it's not the shit that fucking burns.
Yeah, but people will tell you fucking anything is the cure-all.
Well,
like remember the old snake oil salesman?
Oh yeah.
It's like we're still dealing with that hundreds of years later.
Well, because if you call it a supplement, there's no regulation, really.
Yeah, I know.
Other than it can't kill people.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
And
I think there needs to be.
And you can say a whole bunch of stuff as long as you can put on the package somewhere, this statement has not been evaluated by the FDA, and this is not meant to treat, cure, or prevent any actual disease. As long as you put that somewhere on the box, you can say damn near anything you want.
Kind of perfect nowadays. Not necessarily proven, but we feel really strongly that it will.
Yeah. As long as you give us money, we feel really strongly that you should buy this.
Oh, there was a fat loss pill like that was supposed to, you take the pill and you magically lose weight. And I just out of boredom researched it, and it was just black pepper.
Wow.
It was literally just black pepper in capsule form.
You never know, the placebo effect could kick in and help
Oh,
enough
wow.
people.
Well, there was a point in time where like that was illegal, totally and completely, and then the laws changed one day, and they never went back.
Oh, yeah, some companies made
It
enough
also
money ahead of time.
Illegal to like defraud people out of money by telling them you're a psychic and things like that. And now we got
Oh, is
fucking
that
Miss
illegal?
Cleo. No, it used to be, but now it's fine.
Well,
No,
I think
that's what
now
I
they
said.
just say it's for entertainment purposes only
Yeah,
or
now
something,
it's
don't they?
yeah. There's always a little. If you have the right words in small
Yeah.
enough print, you can get away with almost anything.
Right.
Well, the mystical Cleo, Lady Cleo never saw that lawsuit coming.
Yeah,
She got
I
fucked.
love Miss Cleo.
Oh, and it was such obvious bullshit. I don't know how that lawsuit ever worked.
Kind of feel sorry for people because people obviously buy into that shit.
There
Although,
were
I don't
yeah.
know.
people.
For the people like what they call now whales, you know, like the mobile games where you have people that spend a whole lot and they basically support the whole industry, even though
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
small percentage of people.
You might
They
spend
basically-
$20, they'll spend $5,000.
Yeah, they basically had that for psychics. They had the
Yeah.
whales.
Mm.
Well, it's with that kind of stuff. I had a little experience with that. So in my brief stint of teaching dance, and I taught in a couple of different places. One of
Nice.
them was an old folks home, and it was like a really upscale old folks home, the kind of place with like chandeliers in every room and
Nice.
fucking like 6 fountains in front of it. Like
Oh, okay.
big fountains too, like the really like grand ones. And we were just there to just keep people company for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Once a week. That was all we were there for. Nobody cared about
You
dancing.
weren't gonna turn them into competition level dancers.
Oh, they didn't even want to dance half the time. They just wanted to tell us stories about their life.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it was awesome. I loved it. The person who really wanted to teach hated it, and I felt bad for her. But I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to old people tell stories, dude. I don't know why, but I always find that shit interesting.
Oh well,
Because it's a peek into another world.
one of the
Right?
ladies there used to freaking run around in the same circles as a lot of the major big swing bands back in the 20s.
Nice.
And so, like, for somebody who does swing dancing and like went and has gone and seen like some of the few remaining living swing dancers just to hear them talk, it was great to hear the stories that she told. I don't remember any of them now, but it was worth it then.
Right. Or the old when they used to do the marathon dance competitions and shit.
Oh yeah, she had all sorts of stuff. It was great.
That's great.
Old people.
Talking about spending $50 on a skin for a virtual gun that you can make yourself in less than 10 minutes. Yeah, people
Nice.
will spend a lot. I'll be honest. I probably spent $100 on Fallout Shelter, but I finally got to the point where I'm not spending anything on it anymore.
Well, I
There's
mean,
Nuka-Cola. I needed those Nuka-Cola so I could do those missions faster. Damn it!
oh yeah, of course.
I still have
mean,
not played any of those.
People will drop $60 to play a game. So it's like, if you spend somewhere around that and you get enough enjoyment out of the game, I can understand it. But it's these fucking apps that have like a single button press and you can spend $100.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
a little overboard to me.
Well, and half of that is just they're hoping that like kids will do that and the parents will feel like obligated to, or just not realize and pay it.
Yeah. And if it happens too many times, then like, I don't know what to, like, as a parent, I'd kick my son's ass if I found out that he pressed the $100 buy something button. Like,
My
holy
little
fuck.
brother, when he was very young, he liked to talk to the naked ladies on TV
Oh yeah,
on the phone.
we all do.
And I don't know if anybody remembers this. There might be some youngins that don't, but there used to be these 1-900 numbers that were like basically phone sex lines. You'd call in and talk
Yeah, that's-
dirty and then chat.
That's where the
And-
term 900 number comes from. Like, it's that synonymous with sex phone.
Well, but I
talk.
mean, I'm saying there's a lot of people who might be younger who might watch and not know that. I clarify it just to, for the sake of people who don't know.
For sure.
Remember,
Yes.
not everyone's as old as we are, dude.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I'm just saying it was so synonymous with being
Yeah.
a 900
Oh
number
yeah.
that 900 numbers just means sex talk.
And he must have spent like $1,000.
Wow.
Wow.
And they were coming after my mom hard, and she was like, "Yeah, he's fucking 7." And they were like, "Oh, so we're going to remove those charges right away."
Yeah.
Oh,
So if
yeah.
your operatives were talking to an underage kid, if you really want to go to court about that,
Mm-hmm.
feel free.
Nice.
Like, good luck with that one, buddy.
Well, there's been like a rash recently of kids donating like hundreds of dollars to Twitch streamers. And the Twitch streamer will go like insane, like, "Oh my god, he donated $200." They'll freak out about it, and then at the end of the month, they'll be like, "Yeah, we didn't do that. Yeah, issue a chargeback. That's not us." And then that Twitch streamer's just out of all that money. And it happened so often for this one family that the credit card company like decided, no, we're done doing this. You pay the fucking bill.
Oh, wow.
And they stuck it to him. It was like $5,000 bill or something like that.
Yeah. Well, if it keeps happening, I can understand that. It's
Yeah.
fucking, happening more than
I'd get tired of
once,
that, too.
maybe twice. But yeah, at a certain point,
Well, at
you're
that
like,
point-
dude,
He's
block
like,
that
by the time
thing
we get to 15,000, now we're
Mhm.
Well, I mean, at what point are they having to parent your kids for you, essentially?
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, if that was happening, my kid wouldn't be going anywhere near online anything
Meanwhile,
for a
Twitch-
long time.
Meanwhile, there's the Twitch streamer who's like, I got a really good, paycheck this month. Oh, wait. Like, never mind.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Well, some of those people make fucking, like, in the, like, tens of thousands per month.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. If you're a big streamer, I've seen people make easily $1,000 per stream, and they stream every day.
Yeah.
Like they're probably pulling in like 30,000 a month.
What was it? And I think there's a streamer that does YouTube videos. I've watched a few of the YouTube videos because she does just like silly nonsense ones, like the such and such challenge kind of stuff. And she's kind of funny because she's not.
Oh yeah.
She's very aware of the fact that she's basically is getting all this money because she's got giant boobs and decent personality, and so it's much more funny to watch because she just
Mrs.
plays
Tits.
on that.
Hey, at least she
She's in on the
embraces it.
joke. Yeah.
And she does Twitch, and she's got like this giant fucking house with like a swimming pool, and actually I think she's out in Arizona, like Sniper Wolf or something. I think she actually is based in Arizona.
Oh yeah, I think my son. I don't know if he. I know he doesn't really mess with Twitch that much, but I know I've seen that when we used to share a YouTube thing.
Pretty sure my son was watching the girl with huge gazongas.
That's a possibility.
Well, she's actually
They
fairly
grow up
decent.
so quick, don't they?
She's actually fairly decent. She doesn't go in for any of like the nonsense. She just makes jokes and she just cracks wise on everything.
Mm.
And has obviously and doesn't pretend that she's not like a tit streamer.
Right. Yeah, you're self-aware and self-deprecating.
And a pretty good sense of humor, to be fair.
Yeah.
And she's dating this dude who's kind of like dumpy looking, like a big, like an overweight dumpy looking guy with like a long scraggly looking hair.
I mean,
And apparently she's been dating this dude since like way before she was ever famous. And one of the funniest things to me is the number
how
of
long is
people
that
who
going to
are like,
last?
oh, apparently they broke up at one point and then got back together. I don't really
Nice.
follow it that much. I don't know. It might have happened multiple times. I don't really care.
I don't really follow
my
it. But yeah, they broke up this one time, but then they got back together.
Well, no, there was video where she like announced it to everybody, and from that point on, I watched the comments in the videos when they were after that one, because the number of people who are like, "Hey, dump this loser, get with me," in the comments, like that
Oh,
shit was
yeah.
gonna fucking work out, was fucking through the roof. It's just so funny.
Mate with me.
That's
That
why
shit
I'm-
cracks me up though, and on live streams or even in the comments, especially like roaming millennials is the fucking worst. Not her fault, but like you go into a fucking stream of hers and like fucking at least a third of the comments are, "You're so hot, you're so sexy." Like, what do you think you're gonna get? Like, I don't know what goes through their mind. Like, first of all, do you think she doesn't know that by now? And then second of all, like, what do you think's going to happen? This is somehow going to magically turn into you hooking up with her?
Well, that actually reminds me. So the reason I first watched a Sniper Wolf video is she was opening a mailbox. You know, like how they get these people get mail and like people will send them packages and stuff.
Yeah.
The unboxing ones.
Like a dildo. And she had the greatest
Nice.
response to it. She was like, "Oh, that's so gross. Why do you send that? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think I'm going to do anything other than just throw that the fuck away?"
It's awesome, dude.
Her response was so great 'cause it's so real. It was just like, "I'm just going to throw this away. What are you hoping to accomplish here? You lose it."
Yeah. Like the dude was probably like, "Oh, I'm gonna send this to her.
Yeah.
She's gonna send me a private video of her using this." That's
Yeah.
totally
The
what's gonna
best
happen.
chance that guy has at getting laid now is if she completely forgets about him, forgets about that encounter, and then meets him again somewhere and starts over. Like that's not helping, dude.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Although there are a couple streamers I think are kind of interesting in that they sell like nude photos and stuff of themselves online. And I think that's brilliant.
Well, imagine if that comment section was like one of the few comment sections you were exposed to. Then all the SJWs are right, because it's just a bunch of dudes talking about how they want to fuck this chick.
Well, and they'll put up with a lot of stuff that a lot of other streamers might not in the way of comments. And they're like, "Hey, dude, whatever you're fucking comfortable with, none of my fucking concern. I absolutely could care less." And kudos to them. You know, that's a great way to make money, dude. You streaming and people are going to donate money to get you to take clothes off, or they're going to send you money for private photos. Hey,
There is an element of hypocrisy of like purposely flaunting your sexuality and then being insulted when someone like sexualizes you.
Oh, well, these ones don't.
Yeah,
So it's
they're
like,
usually
I can understand. Yeah, well, it's like when Meg Attorney, she used to take pictures of herself in her underwear all the time, and then she'd get mad when people would say sexual things about the pictures of her in her underwear, and it's like, well, you were trying to elicit a certain response with the underwear pictures, I'm pretty sure.
like, no, I want all the positive stuff, but none of the negative.
Sexual in nature, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that is ridiculous. I want all the benefits, but none of the negative.
Yeah.
Well, in an ideal world, sure.
Yeah. But no, that's the attitude.
Because I will give her all the benefits without any of the negatives. Like that's totally possible.
But the negatives will be coming from somewhere.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of assholes out there.
Yeah.
I think
And they've somehow figured out how to use a computer.
I think the feet people absolutely are my favorite online, though.
The feet people?
The people
The
who are
foot
always
fetish?
just like, "Yeah, send me a picture of your feet. Oh, did you see your feet?" And like,
Did you know that Ryan Haywood just showed his feet during a E3 live stream? So he's probably on Wiki. He's on Wiki Feet now.
Oh, is there like a gay foot fetish thing too?
There's a Wiki Feet,
Wow.
and you can look up anybody's feet.
That's fucking awesome.
That's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts. I admire a nice foot, but yeah, that's nowhere near
So I
fetish
admire a
levels.
nice foot.
Yeah, but I'm not watching streams just hoping the camera slips down to somebody's feet or paying
dude.
them to show it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely not looking out.
You know what
for
I
it.
look for though? For real, I look for the insides of hats. It's
The insides of what?
the insides of hats. Do you know how rare it is to see the inside of a hat on a fucking movie screen?
No, I
Very
did not
rare.
know
They
that.
show the outside of hats all the time, but you never see the inside.
I never fucking thought of that. That's actually pretty brilliant.
God damn it! Now my OCD is
crazy.
going to focus on that.
Yeah.
I know.
Every time there's a hat, you're like, come on, gust of wind, come on, flip that fucker over.
Just a glance.
It's like a
Second
drinking
pause.
game.
No, Indiana Jones hat I've seen the inside of
Oh yeah. That's perfect.
multiple times.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But those movies are special, except for Crystal Skull, which we deny its existence.
But I don't think I've seen the inside of anybody else's hat in that movie, other than
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
No, you
Yeah,
wouldn't.
this is the only one that was constantly flying off and almost losing.
That's the only hat pussy you're seeing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that Rule 34. That's
Hat pussy. Yeah, someone's had to have drawn a picture of Indiana Jones blowing his hat, right? Or something.
I kind of am going to look it up and see if that's true now.
The dong has entered the hat at one point, is all I'm saying.
I wonder what the inside of Steve Shive's hat looks like at this point, dude. That's got to be some nasty shit.
Or what his penis looks like.
No.
Dude, I've heard that there's pictures of that somewhere. Like he had like an online dating thing.
Nice.
Where apparently he's got not very well endowed.
He's on Wiki Penis now.
Unfortunately, hat pussy. It's just women in hats spreading their vaginas.
Oh, that makes sense. Is it like sexy
just hats.
Cowboy Bebop style girls? Like,
no, it's just normal porn stars with hats on.
Yeah.
At first it said, "Oh, you must have made a mistake," and it showed me the results of hot pussy.
Hold on.
Letter.
We get way more people searching for hot pussy than hat pussy.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
If you can have fidget spinner porn and entire sections dedicated to that, you can have some hat porn.
It exists somewhere.
There should be.
I'm sure it exists somewhere, but none that I saw.
Well, or maybe it's
a vajankle, so
haberdashery porn.
Haberdashery porn.
It's like an orgy with hats.
It's just a bunch of people talking like they're from the 20s. All right, Jay, check on that, Jay. Sorry, I don't know. Apparently, that's how I think people in the 20s talk.
That's how they all talk. The end.
What the fuck?
I don't think you're gonna find it.
It's all gay.
Oh.
Oh no! It's the women after a few pictures, but the majority of the start is just all gay dudes. Not even like naked. They're just like from like the 70s, hanging out with each other and wearing like construction hats. I'd show you guys, but then that'd get our channel closed forever.
Yeah.
That woman's
just imagine like
wow.
No, this channel and its mass following must live on, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing else, so we have stuff to do.
We've got
although Stabby, you do
nothing
to promote yourself, dude.
Dozens of people.
I don't know how to promote myself, to be honest. I don't. I think maybe
you got to be okay. First of all, be a shittier human being. That's step one. I noticed that the shittier the human being, the more likely they are to promote themselves, like without caring whatsoever.
And don't think very, very little about whatever subject you're speaking about. Do not do any in-depth thought about it.
Yes. So in other words, just continue like normal.
Or smoke a whole lot of weed like Joe Rogan does.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that dude's podcast reaches probably what 6-7 million at least per episode.
Yeah, I think he said he gets like something like at least 90 million downloads a month, dude.
Smoking weed podcasts, like, and there's another one out there. It's called Getting Dug with High. Yes,
I watch that a lot.
Yeah,
he's a brilliant idea. Yeah. I really wish I lived in a state where that was legal, and I could have that show.
Do that show? Yeah, that would be.
That
fun.
would be amazing.
In my state.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's in your. It is in your state.
In West
Maine. They do it in LA, dude. I'm pretty sure he's in LA.
But for people who live in shithole USA, it's not legal.
Yeah.
And filming yourself doing it would be very stupid.
I think there's another run going on trying to get the federal stuff released. There's, if I remember right, I was seeing something about that on Twitter that they're making another run at trying to get the federal pot laws revoked.
Mm.
I mean, it's not very likely, but they're taking a shot at it.
Yeah, especially with Sessions seems to be pretty hardcore against it, dude.
Yeah, that was one of the few things I was really disappointed in Trump in. Was just like this. He went for Sessions because it was just like, look, I get that you probably have to like satisfy a lot of different groups in order to get anything done.
Being against pot is the traditional default old,
but
fashioned
honestly,
way to do it. And so,
sorry.
until some of these fucking people die off, it's like, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see that much change.
Yeah, although for someone who's allegedly a populist president, I mean, that is the more popular opinion now. Like, it's already more than half the country thinks that pot should be legal.
Yeah,
close to 70%.
I think, unfortunately, a fair amount of that, half of the portion, are all on the side that he wasn't on in the election.
Yeah, that's
And in
true.
order to work with
Or
people,
they
you have
just
to
don't
work with-
vote at all.
Yeah, true. They forgot. They got really high and forgot about it. Akinaro says, scream a
I
lot,
didn't
talk
go
about
vote
Trump, and
for
play
Trump
Minecraft.
because
You'll
I
get
got
thousands.
high.
Damn.
I think Akinaro has a point, though. Scream a lot, talk about Trump, and play Minecraft. You get thousands of views in less than a second.
Chat people. We have chat people. I forget about the chat every fucking time, dude.
I try to keep up on it, and I one of the things I realized today, actually, as a matter of fact, was a lot of the views we get are for after we finish and go offline, and it uploads to the channel on its own.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to make more of a point of actually reading out the comment that I'm replying to in chat, so that anybody who's listening will have some idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
We should go back to the previous video and read some of those comments sometime.
Oh Jesus!
Although there's a way to, so I think Liz Reptile does it where it shows up on the screen. The chat comments actually show up on the screen during the stream.
She ports everything through a secondary program.
Oh, gotcha.
And then essentially she broadcasts it to Google Hangouts through another program. Usually, like I think it's OBS is the big one.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's free. I'm not that smart.
It's 1,000 comments by Akinaro, and that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. William showed up. William Stenchever. He always stinks.
You sound like the old
Stench ever.
Yeah, do a good. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Piss off one of the two people still watching this, dude. Come on.
It's like the old man who can't get the name right at like the fucking whatever the thing is.
Yeah, we're sorry that you subbed to this channel, William. Not Shatner.
Yeah. He says it could be chemtrails.
Yeah, it was probably a mistake. You should probably unsubscribe immediately.
Dude, I think the only reason I found out about yours was I was like, hey, you know, you're really fucking funny and you got a twisted sense of humor. Like, maybe if you ever want to do anything, like I can help you out and do something. And then you're like, yeah, I have a channel. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I have like my own channel that I do stuff on, and I have this channel with a bunch of friends that we do stuff on. And I just don't ever talk about it.
Yeah, this is the multiple people
No
channel.
idea, dude. You should be more like, well, don't, never mind. I was going to say be more like Scotch McGinnis, but.
Oh, what does he do? Does he like constantly promote himself or something?
Well, kind of. He's got to be really young, so I should excuse it. But like whoever's streaming, he'll be like, "Hey, I got a video. Did you see my video? Did you see my video?" You know, like constantly fucking putting that in the chat. And then any joke, like until it's acknowledged, he'll keep doing it over and over again.
Oh, jeez.
Nah.
Well, don't do that.
Well, yeah, if he's a kid, he's a kid, you know.
Yeah, that's what the thing is. Why I think I find him kind of annoying is he reminds me of me at that age. Where, in addition to what I've already mentioned, he
I really hate that guy. He reminds me of me.
I was such a jackass at that age. But no, like he's also like seems like really intent on letting everybody know he's smart and informed.
Oh, yeah.
A trait that I had in my younger days. Like, everybody must know how smart I am. And now I don't fucking give a shit.
Smart and informed.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Sometimes.
favorite of the young people now are the one-uppers.
I know. See, I know when I'm being smart and informed most of the time. Other times, I usually just like shut up.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah, I don't have
I'm not
any-
informed on this subject. I should just maybe shut up and learn something for a minute.
Yeah, see, I'm not as insecure as I was, you know what I mean, as I was at that age. Now I don't really give a shit if anybody, you know, what anybody really thinks of me. But when I was younger, I was like, this is all I got. I'm fucking smart. So this is what everybody needs to know as soon as possible about me. And try to
Pound that
figure out
shit.
some way of fucking, yeah. Oh, shit, were you picking that
We
up?
are really smart, though. We're going to prove it.
So like I said, it's probably why.
Well,
How are we gonna prove it? Hold on, let's smoke this first, then we'll prove it.
what was I say? The other option is when I freaking went off about I forget failure in Tonkasan. I think I went off on, and I was just riffing on something they did and kind of making fun of them and shitting on some of the stuff they did. on the podcast. And we got a bunch of views on that because I think they watched it and got real like upset about it or something.
Nice.
There were some
Are they the ones that
comments on that channel, that video from them?
Are they the ones that hacked us?
No, they didn't hack us. No, they just left some like mean comments and stuff.
We got hacked.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did. We did at one point get hacked, and somebody tried to like, delete our channel. But that was way before I even watched any of their videos in the first place.
We fulfilled the purpose of this channel. We set out to be so offensive that someone would try to shut us down, and by golly, we did it.
Nice.
Because it was, the channel was a response to, overly PC-ness.
Right.
Yeah, that is initially what we were doing. Is just a channel of stuff that was just super offensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I watched some of the compilation one you sent me. I keep forgetting about it. I think I'm about halfway through it, but yeah, the dead puppy one and the Jesus Christ, dude. It was fucking hilarious. But
they're like classic episodes now.
Yeah, well, there's a compilation that Stabby had sent me, and like I said, I'm about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours into it, and I keep forgetting about it.
Yeah, that was me and Classel did the majority of that stuff, I think.
Yeah.
For the presentation videos, if you remember, Mike.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was you and Classel.
I did a compilation of that, and it's like a 5-hour video where I just put all of them together back.
I showed up and talked.
Yeah,
that was my contribution.
Well, I just looked at those things because essentially what we did was we would do the presentation at the beginning of the podcast thing, and I always just looked at it as a way to get everybody in a good mood and just kind of like start the thing off on a positive note.
Start off on a good foot before it all degrades into a screaming match.
Yeah. Everybody laughing and having a good time, man. That was just all I really looked at it as. It was just like, all right, let's just have fun.
Yeah, a lot of those are fucking hilarious that I've seen so far. The one about backpacking across Europe with 2 fucking things of Jif peanut butter.
Fucking peanut butter. Yeah, eat a handful of peanut butter. Fucking.
Go back to the hotel and eat a handful of peanut butter.
I was like what was that superhero, like Captain Non Sequitur or something?
Oh yeah, that was another one.
He would save the day just by completely changing the entire venue and situation.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, or the cult one. The cult one was pretty good too.
I still want to start a cult like that one. Was half joking.
Yeah, that one was.
I think that's one of the things because I said something about you would make a great cult leader, and you're like, hey, that's one of the videos on there.
Oh, that's right. That's why I sent it to him in the first place.
Yeah.
Failure.
Sorry,
not confirmed from
old days. That's Untitled Studios classic.
Yeah, I got to work my way through the rest of that because it's all been really freaking funny.
It's like isn't that the 5-hour video?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I need to go through and break it back up into separate ones and just upload each one individually, but it's just so much goddamn work.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. I can break it up into like half-hour chunks. It'd probably not be as bad. That's kind of where I get stuck is I forget where I left off and then I try to find it. I'm easily distracted, so.
If I break it up, I want to break it up into individual ones just because it's easier to like title it the name of that presentation.
All right, because there's no way to really kind of class them all. So yeah, it would be tough to break them up like that. Otherwise, you'd have to title them "Random Shit Number 1," "Random Shit Number 2."
Exactly. Yeah.
So, speaking of which, we all know Classel's dead.
Yeah.
But what happened to Engel and what has happened to not Classel?
Oh, Engelharth is in Southern California visiting his girlfriend.
He still has a girlfriend?
Yeah. Here, I'll screen share the original idea. I don't know if I told you.
Told me that he didn't have a girlfriend anymore. Now I'm jealous.
No, there was I think a brief period where they were. But initially, this was going to be a whole different kind of thing, and it probably would have already been over because I don't think it would have taken very long to do. Where I was just going to try to tell a story.
Tell a story.
But like not one that I actually know, just like a made up one.
It's fine. We can help you
miserably.
Oh.
In fact, there's a 3-minute video up on our channel for about 5 seconds before I deleted that shit.
Okay, well, let's try again. One day, there was a purple polka dot octopus. Oh, this is a terrible idea. Why would you do this?
This is, yeah, it's really hard. It started out with there was a girl who lived in a wood, and then I just went from there, and about like 3 sentences in, I
Jason
just
showed up
locked the fuck up and couldn't tell any more story.
and slaughtered that bitch.
I think,
And then the purple polka dot octopus showed up.
I think in retrospect, I tried to tell a real story and not one that's just chaos like my mind creates on its own. It doesn't make sense, but it's funny.
Yeah, I'm going to suggest
something that was like a legitimate, like a story you'd read in a book.
that's Stabby. That's a thing people used to do, like the old minstrels and Lears, and like they would just make up songs and stories. You can be that person.
I think they would make them up before they went on to like perform them, though.
Yeah, but I guess so.
Probably all based on a true story, like things are.
No, there's improv artists out there, Stabby. You can make funny stuff up.
Oh, I think I could have done it.
They can.
If I'd done something that was not intended to be like a more traditional type of story.
Oh.
I'm gonna write the one I was gonna do out and then read it online.
Well, this is probably the worst channel to do it because people come here to get like child rape jokes.
I just figured since I've talked about it at this point, I should probably just put it up at one point or another.
Okay.
Just because it's like, oh well, here's where I was aiming for and failed miserably on, and then people are like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
Why is this
like,
weird?
I failed miserably. I better show everybody.
Should be entertaining on some level. The train wreck option, or
what about season 2 of Jesus and Hitler?
I've run that well dry, man. I've got no ideas. I really don't.
Okay. Because I know everyone that I've talked to that's seen it is just like, when are we getting more episodes?
It was the one I wanted to do the most, and it's why I started my own individual channel.
Yeah.
Was Jesus and Hitler, and I give you, to be honest, like I don't normally promote myself, but that was one where I was kind of hoping to get hate money, where people would just be so angry at it that they would watch it just to tell me how much of a piece of shit I was, that I would get money from ads.
Sure. That's a legitimate thing people do.
And I advertised it solely on Reddit channels that were based on like religious stuff. And like in a positive way, like Christian channels and stuff.
Yeah.
So that may have been not best plan.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too, but I can also see why it failed miserably, yes.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure people from like talking about like Christian issues and like discussing scripture were like, Jesus and Hitler. What? No. I'm not even gonna bother. Just scrolled right on and thumbed it down.
I'm gonna watch it just long enough to thumbs it down.
Yeah, I know people that are so dedicated to thumbing down someone that they're subscribed to their channel, and every time a video comes, they also hit the little bell.
Like this.
Yeah, they're like, I just showed up. They always put in the comment, I just showed up to thumbs down the video.
No, I think they have bots. I think they actually have bots that do it automatically for them.
That's a dedication, though. If you're getting a bot, or if you're like subscribed to a channel with notifications, just to hit that thumbs down every single time. Like, that's some level of dedication.
It's almost admirable in a way that you're dedicated. I mean, it's a sad thing to be dedicated to, but you're like, wow, you are really locked in on that.
Turn that into something positive.
I want to shake their hand. I'd want to meet them in person and shake their hand.
Well,
if somebody was showing up every single time we made a video to thumb it down, I'd want to know about it so I could congratulate them. Like you are awesome, sir. Your game is unparalleled.
To be fair,
find out what else they hate. Like, this can't be the only thing, dude. You have to be full of hatred in your whole fucking life.
Some channels probably deserve a thumbs down on every single video they come out with. But at that point, I'm just like, I've unsubscribed months ago and
Right.
quit watching. You know, like if it upset
why do
me
you wanna
that
carry-
much,
why do
I'm
you
not
wanna
even
carry
gonna
on
pay attention to it anymore. Like I'm done. I've checked out. It's
Mhm.
over.
Yeah, that's something that's missing in this country at this point. I don't like that, so I'm just going to change the channel and not watch it.
Right.
Now,
Well,
if
yeah,
I don't like
because
that,
it's-
I'm going to write to the people that make it and tell them why they can't show it on TV anymore.
At a certain point, it becomes so ridiculous where it's like anything I do is not gonna make a difference. So it's like I'm just gonna let the world go to hell, I guess.
Mhm.
And you too can join us on the podcast.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Join
watching
us.
the world burn with the rest of us.
Yeah, join us in going to hell together.
Yeah, we're flacked. Let's just sit back, get some popcorn, and enjoy the show, dude.
Get all the hookers, you get all the strippers,
Well-
there'd be no STDs,
Fortunately,
probably get all the politicians.
if we look through history, things probably will get better overall. It's just there's going to be periods where things get really bad sometimes on the small scale.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
Unfortunately,
hope that the trend continues that way in the long term. Because it doesn't look good sometimes. Because sometimes I'm like all the progress we've made and people just want to piss it away or throw it away because they want to, believe in crystals or something. And it's like, what are we doing? Like we've built skyscrapers. We've gone to the goddamn moon. Like we've done amazing things, but then some guy down the street like kidnaps a girl, puts her in a trunk, chops her up into pieces, and
And then gets freaking the case dismissed in court because he's freaking Islamic.
oh god. Well, yeah, if he's rich.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The fucking guy who ran a bunch of people down with his car because he was drunk and then got let go because it was fucking, was it affability or something like that? The defense was ridiculous.
Remember that time that football guy killed his wife and he was rich, so he got away with it?
O.J. Simpson. Yeah, no, this is
that guy.
literally his defense was. No, his defense was that he was rich and that his parents had always bought him out of trouble so that he couldn't be held responsible at this point. He was incapable of understanding.
Yeah.
Affluenza, I believe they called it.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know what the most amazing part of that story is to me?
Mhm.
That none of the parents
It might be right.
of any of those people that got killed just fucking shot that kid in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If my little boy or my little girl, and I don't have kids, so I'm probably not fully as like, I don't probably get quite as how attached you get, but I assume it's pretty strong. The attachment.
Like, I assume
Well,
from movies and television, the stories I've heard.
I can tell you my ex doesn't seem to have that much of an attachment to their kids, but yeah, for most people.
Yeah.
Cheerful note there. Yeah, no, I would imagine that like one of the parents would have shot that kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, this kid's gonna get away with murdering my little boy or my little girl. It's fucking, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone
Yeah.
abducted my kid and raped them and killed them, like, I don't know if they're gonna get to court. Like,
Yeah, exactly. No, I would gladly kill them. I would gladly confess to it and spend the rest of my fucking
then
life in
then
jail
I
with
get
a
in
smile
trouble.
on my face, dude.
Well,
Mic drop.
One of the things that gets me, I know I had to readjust my mic because I was moving in my chair.
I thought he dropped his mic after that speech.
I totally planned that.
I don't blame you guys. I'd say that's pretty reasonable. One of the things that gets me is the constant, like in Sweden, I guess there's a lot of rape cases that just go unprosecuted
Yeah.
because of the whole like racism, anti-racism, whatever you want to call it, that's going on over there with the Islamic immigrants.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, dude.
And it's just like, I in all honesty, man, like if it was my little sister, like, because that's the closest I can get to a kid, because I took her to daycare and took care of her when she was in when I was in high school and when she was in like preschool, I basically was like taking care of her a lot. And I gotta say, man, like and they decided not to prosecute, there'd just be like a bunch of fucking heads in a bag on that judge's fucking doorstep the next day. And the next night, you best fucking sleep light.
Yeah, you want to take out anyone, man. Anyone that was responsible for them not getting fucking prosecuted.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like really, because he's fucking Muslim and he allegedly doesn't know any better, or whatever. Oh, because he's a oppressed minority or whatever. Fucking.
I think if I went to the point where I got judged too, I'd just stop. I don't think I'd stop. I'd be like, well, other people need freaking. It'd become like an addiction at that point.
Okay.
That guy on the news was talking about me unfavorably. Well, he must be an enemy now.
Okay.
He just made the list.
Well, let's say for a second, like, all right, it's true. OJ truly wasn't responsible because of the way he was raised. Like, what's the solution then? To just he gets away with it, or like, wouldn't if he was truly not responsible for his actions? Like, isn't that dangerous?
No, that's ridiculous. That's why. Yeah, what's going on?
Don't we still have to lock up crazy people just to like keep people safe and themselves safe?
So there's a big issue here that I actually get to see a lot of, because I do work in mental health and I work with people with severe mental illnesses.
This is where Stabby's expertise comes in.
And there's a couple of issues here. One is the Reagan basically fucked the mental health system.
Nice.
Because essentially you're not a danger to yourself or others. They can't hold you there. And because it's cheaper, it becomes easier and easier to prove that you're not a danger to yourself or others. And the burden of proof becomes far, far less. To a point where a lot of people who genuinely just are not safe being out of institutions are allowed out. There's a lot of bleeding heart humanist psychologists who think that that's a good thing because they're delusional and they don't want to accept that the reality is there are certain people who just are never going to be safe outside of an institution.
Well, yeah, I think if someone is truly dangerous to themselves or others, you have no choice but to try to prevent them from harming innocent people. Like,
well, yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And the secondary issue is
just responsible.
There's no difference between criminally insane and insane in our legal system or in our mental institutions.
Well, mental health has been
Dahmer
stigmatized for decades, Stabby. we used to basically just straight up torture our mental patients.
If you get out of prison and you go into the mental health system instead of going to prison, so like say Jeffrey Dahmer had not gone to prison, they'd said he was mentally unfit. Yeah. Jeffrey Dahmer, the guy who famously like was trying to bring people back to life and shit so that they could be sex slaves. Anyway, nice. And like eating parts of them and shit. But
of course,
if he'd gone into the mental institution, he would have been in the same place with people who just had like a nervous breakdown. There'd have been no separate area for him, no separate facility.
It's the same reason marijuana is classified in the same category as like heroin.
Yeah, and essentially he would have been able to get out of the mental institution, and I'd say the maximum amount of time it would take him if they did everything they could to keep him there, probably 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Before eventually somebody would have, worked the system to get him out, because there's always somebody who's going to think like, well, he just needed more hugs from his mommy. Not like that's just a person who's broken inside, and they'll never be safe.
Yeah, I mean, if you get to that point, there's almost...
He might have just needed more hugs from his mommy, but he didn't get those hugs, and so now we're in a situation where that didn't happen. So, like, regardless of whether or not he should have got the hugs, and if he got the hugs or didn't get the hugs, if it would have prevented anything, we're in a situation where he didn't get the hugs, and we got to deal with that regardless.
Well, and that's one of the things I'm saying, why I'm pointing out, like, that's the issue we deal with.
And we have a classification problem in America for some reason.
Well, I think if you use criminal insanity to get out of a criminal charge, you should go to a separate place, and you really shouldn't get out before whatever that prison sentence would have been. So instead of charging you, you're criminally insane.
Or they have to prove somehow that you're no longer. You'd
have the same problem you had before. Whereas essentially, like, in order to get out of prison to go to a criminal institution or a mental institution for criminally insane people, you're still going to go for the same amount of time. So only the people that genuinely really need that help are going to want to go there. Well, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people could try to get out of it either way, but essentially you get the same amount of time regardless.
Yeah, like if you're going to get 20 years for murder or whatever, then you're spending 20 years in a fucking mental institution. Yeah.
So that it's not, well, you spent like 4 years talking about your dad and your mom and your dog, and now you're free to go.
Yeah, because I assume, people that are that sociopathic and do that kind of shit are generally going to know how to fucking game the system and get the fuck out, act normal or whatever. But they're pretty much stuck like that, right? I mean, I haven't really read much on criminal sociopath type shit, but I've done a lot of study on them.
You can't really, you can't change it.
They're stuck, right? Like I've read a lot about like narcissistic or borderline personality disorder. So I mean, I kind of get that.
Well, that's one of the issues with that, because the DSM-5 has conflated a lot of things that aren't really things that should go together. I don't believe they call it sociopathic anymore. It's like dissociative identity disorder or something. I forget what it is. Essentially, like they took sociopath out and put it in with a bunch of other stuff with personality disorders, and it's really not the same thing.
Right.
Or maybe it's like antisocial personality disorder. But essentially, like, people are moving, it's sort of like that humanistic thing in psychology is sort of like the SJW version of psychology versus like behavioralism, which is like the science version of psychology. It's like one is just like, well, they know how to be healed and they'll heal themselves. You just have to be there with them and hold their hand through the process. And it's like, yeah, maybe if it's somebody who has a very mild depression, that could help. They go and talk to somebody about why they're depressed, and it makes them feel better.
To be fair, Stabby, there are people that do get better.
No, and this is what I'm saying.
Like you're painting a picture here, like everyone is truly broken forever, and then they're never going to improve. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I'm saying
behaviorism,
that's the picture you're painting. That's what it sounds like.
Behaviorism is the science-based thing. It just says, hey, look, you have all these behaviors, and they're extremely counterproductive. So we're going to work on teaching you how to manage your behaviors and manage your symptoms so that you can handle them. And we're going to use like behavioralist methods that are like essentially like, oh, God damn it. Now I'm drawing a blank, but they're more realistic. Like, if you're afraid of like heights, you slowly walk up more and more stairs until you eventually get over it.
Yeah.
You slowly edge out of the fear. It's like the same thing with schizophrenia. Like if you hear voices, what do you do to manage the voices? Well, you can like listen to headphones. You can take one of your extra medications. You can take like an extra pill. You can go and talk with people. You can call your friends or family.
And it's all fine. I just want us to acknowledge that there are people that will get better and won't.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really hard to tell the difference sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, from what I understand, especially the people with dissociative disorders like narcissist personality disorder or whatever, like those people, technically they can get better, but it's almost impossible because they're not really capable of acknowledging that there's a problem because they're
that's right.
Yeah, certain categories sure will be harder to get. Like it's like going to be it's just going to be an inherently more difficult process to get them to grab onto some sort of reality, Yeah,
that's where I fucked up my explanation, and I got thrown off. I was going down on personality disorders and not on just general disorders. So, personality disorders you're looking at 20 years to get any real progress. Whereas, let's face it, and like depression,
we don't have good methods.
Yeah, and bipolar, you're not looking at that same. You're looking at like 4 or 5 years really working on it. You can,
like our mental health practices aren't great either.
Oh yeah, fucking like rape is still a huge issue in the mental hospitals.
So
like, how fucked up is that you can still that's still a huge problem of people who work at the mental health hospitals raping the fucking clients.
Yeah, there's plenty of abuse that goes on in mental hospitals where it's like it's not like it used to be, obviously
medicated intentionally.
But these people are literally like they're prisoners in a place and the people in charge have basically absolute authority over them,
Oh yeah.
and that can be abused. And these are already people that needed help to begin with, and it's like abusing them further is just going to make any semblance of recovery even harder. And so it's like we really need oversight on some of this like shit that people are getting away
Yeah,
with.
it needs more money. It really does. Like I know that that's
Yeah.
a common like libtard thing or whatever people call libtard. I don't fucking agree, but a common left wing thing.
No,
like,
I agree.
It's more money. It really does. Mental health.
We need,
really
and
needs
you know what? We have that money, but we spend it on shit we don't need a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? Like America has money, but what we prioritize spending it on sometimes is like, look, the hospitals really need help over here, or maybe you could give some more money to the schools over here, maybe fix some of that shit. And then they spend it on something. You're like, why?
Well, and then you get to the kind of
Why?
work that I do, which is specifically getting people out of mental health institutions and getting them to be as independent like as possible. So, like the ultimate goal is that they live on their own and they eventually get a job.
That they
and get back
become
into
like a regular
society.
person.
Yeah, but a lot of times we get, we don't get to that point. We'll get to like a living in a board and care, which is essentially just like they got to check in and like they get handed out, they get their meds handed out, but they also can go out and do what they want during the day and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like an intensive outpatient kind of thing.
Yeah, it's called residential treatment. I don't know if it's done everywhere. I think it's at least somewhat done
It
everywhere.
probably varies. Yeah.
What it is what we do is more expensive than a mental institution, but long term, it's much less expensive because you don't have to spend as much keeping the clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
So eventually, if
short-term.
they get to the point where they can live on their own or live in a board and care, it's substantially less expensive than in an
It's a
institution.
short-term loss for
Yeah.
a long-term gain.
Yeah, and that's the way it gets sold, and it's very accurate. It's very true. We do a long term. We end up costing taxpayers less.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need more stuff like what we do where I work, and we need.
Stabby. Politicians are extremely short-sighted.
Yeah.
Like I can't
They
overstate
gotta get
this enough.
reelected,
Like,
man.
they are really, really good at screwing us later in order to do just a little bit something nice now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Experts.
Yeah. Well,
Finally, their main focus is going to be getting reelected, and if you tell them it's going to be a plan that, well, 7 or 8 years from now, you'll see the benefits. You're like, yeah, you're gone. This other guy says it's going to be better within a year or two.
Well, and then
Fucking
the
believe
people I
for
work with
something.
aren't the pretty people. You talk about kids or women or something like that. Everybody wants to throw money at you, but you're talking about like the guy that the guy or the woman that looks like a homeless person. Nobody wants to throw money at that person.
Just
Yeah, the guy wandering around
buy-
muttering to himself, dude.
you buy elections now. Like advertising is a huge thing. If you don't have a big enough advertising budget, you're not going to get elected. Like
Well, I mean, Hillary
people pay for a huge percentage of their votes.
spent like twice what Trump did. So I mean, maybe you just got to be an asshole to everybody. That might be the one way to bypass the buying it.
No, but anyone that doesn't have that level of money, like the reason Trump became a Republican was because he had a bunch of fucking money and he had the popularity to begin with.
Didn't he at one point tell somebody that their fucking dad killed JFK, and like everybody was like, "Oh, okay, that's weird, but okay."
No, I don't remember that. Holy
Yeah,
shit!
he fucking did. I think it was fucking Cruz.
Cruz is Ted Cruz's
Oh, okay.
dad.
Good lord.
I don't know if it was Trump though. Was it Trump?
It was Trump.
I
He
don't
told
know.
Cruz, like, your dad killed JFK. Fucking like,
All right.
nobody believed it. Everybody's just like, and then that Cruz was out.
Although, oh man, I know way too much about the JFK assassination,
Oh no.
I'd never heard anything about Ted Cruz's dad having anything to do with
Do
it.
you believe the second bullet thing?
Yeah. I don't believe Lee Harvey Oswald had a rifle when we were shooting a rifle at all that day, dude.
Okay.
Oh, I want to run for president
What
next
was
time.
it? Hold on, I want to hear the explanation. Damn it! What
Yeah.
killed JFK?
Oh, I don't know exactly who, but there was a lot of people. There's a lot of people he was pissing off.
Was it the guy with the umbrella?
No, he was the signal guy. If the umbrella was still flapping, then he wasn't dead yet.
Okay.
So keep shooting until that umbrella stops flapping.
You know about the black umbrella, don't you, Stabby?
Mm-hmm.
No, I do know that JFK was trying to shut down the Federal Reserve, though. That had to really piss off a lot of people.
Yeah, the oil depletion allowance. He was going to do away with the oil depletion allowance. Was going to cost a shitload of money to the oil people. Organized crime, his brother was going after. The CIA, he was going to fucking disband. Yeah, he was.
Oh shit!
Trying to change a lot of shit, dude. And he pissed off a lot of people. There's a. That's why I said I didn't really understand. Like, anytime anybody's really tried to change shit, that's the last time any president has really tried to change shit, and they blew his fucking head off for it.
Well, I think if you wanted to change stuff at this point, you're talking about a violent, bloody revolution where you just go through and take out the rich people, like the fucking French.
You don't have to go there. I mean, I agree that would definitely solve a lot of problems quickly, but it would also create a few.
I'm not saying
it would almost. Yeah, it couldn't be out in the open. It would have to be like a guerrilla type assassination of all the fucking higher ups.
Hold on. The good solution, which is the long shitty solution, is you make sure that the next generation is more educated than ever, so that they vote for better fucking people to be in charge, right? But then you're talking about
people are stupid though nowadays.
Yeah, but then you're talking about a process that literally takes decades to kick in, because that generation has to grow up, and then you have to wait for all the idiots to die a little bit, and then that generation can raise an even more open-minded, more educated generation, and then by the time 40 years have passed, some of those people will be old enough to actually be in charge, and then some things might change. But that's a really, really long time to wait. And it's the better solution, because you end up with better education for everyone, and then everyone has more jobs, and we invent more technology, and everything's awesome. But no one wants to hear that. That's a long-term solution. No one has to. We want a quick, easy solution right now. Like, that's hard, right?
Yeah, tell me you can reverse 40 or 50 years of fucking bullshit in like 2 years. That's what the public wants to hear, you know?
But guillotine is such a cool word and such a cool thing.
I know, it's French. It's got L's in it, and it doesn't sound like it at all.
It would be very European.
And and the French took care of their king and queen very quickly. And sometimes that's necessary. But I don't think we're there yet, Stabby.
Well, dude, the president has.
I just really wish we had a faster solution. But I think really that's the only long-term one, is to just.
I think we're getting pretty close to some
education.
Some really extreme violence. Like, we've already had some pretty extreme violence, but I think we're going to get.
Oh, it's going to get worse. Yeah, it's going to get worse.
Especially in places like where. Like fucking what happened with Oregon? What was it? Where they
the Oregon
police
train.
Just disarmed everybody at the free speech rally, and then left as soon as Antifa showed up with their weapons.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, like there was essentially like Antifa shut down a something or other and just went crazy. It was a Milo Yiannopoulos speech at one of the colleges. Yeah, Berkeley. Oh, is that Berkeley?
Yeah. That's what
I thought that was in Oregon. The one I was talking about.
Well, there might have been one in Oregon too, but the Milo's
it wasn't Milo
most popular one.
You're right. That was in Berkeley.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Berkeley that this all occurred. Because
is the one where the police chief told the police guy, all his people, to stand down and fucking let him just run wild, basically.
In Berkeley, yeah.
That was definitely Berkeley
speech. But then there was like a free speech rally afterwards, where like the right-wing people all showed up to talk about free speech.
Mm-hmm. And the police were actually pretty equal numbers.
Yeah, and the police showed up and were like, hey, we're going to keep this cool. We're going to keep this cool, but you guys got to turn over all your weapons. And so they did. You know, so nobody was even allowed so much as like a taser or pepper spray.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I'm talking about weapons, that's primarily, because you're talking about California. So that's primarily what people had, were things like pepper spray and like, you know, a stun gun.
Like more defensive.
Yeah, not like people with guns or anything like that. Not like Texas, where Texas had a free speech rally not that long ago, and everybody had freaking fucking assault rifles. You know who didn't show up? Fucking Antifa didn't show up. Nobody showed up. But then, like,
I think they learned from that because they did it in
I don't think I'd show up
Arizona.
either.
In Arizona, they had one where the Antifa showed up with fucking weapons because Arizona's really fucking lax on the gun laws too.
Yeah. But essentially, like, yeah, what happened was the police, under orders from the mayor, disarmed everybody who showed up for the free speech rally. And then as soon as Antifa showed up, left and refused to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It was just like insane. And that was just like a full on like crazy street fight brawl. A bunch of people got hospitalized. I don't think anyone died, luckily, but it got pretty crazy. I mean, people were throwing bricks and stuff. So like, that's not.
Yeah, I think that's the one where there's that one MMA fighter that was fucking people up, fucking Antifa guys up. I can't remember the dude's name, but there was one where there's a guy that was an MMA fighter that was just fucking.
The thing about Antifa is if you go online and watch like Antifa videos, man, fucking little old ladies will fuck Antifa up. Like, they're not the strongest people.
Yeah, they want nothing, no part of anything that's resembling a fair fight, dude. They have to be overwhelming numbers before they are tough.
Where like this cop was like standing off 2 Antifa members and like keeping them from going further in this building for whatever reason. And some lady just showed up and was like, hey, and he nods at her, and then she takes his place while he goes to deal with some other Antifa somewhere else. And she's like a 5'10" girl, and these 2 dudes are like easily 6 inches taller than her, and not either one of them could push past her, or both of them together.
Yeah, they're basically cowards. And
I saw one where it was like 6 or 7 of them together, and they'd stolen a flag. So some other guy from the other group, one dude, went over and just fucking moved in from the side and just walked through them as if they weren't there to take the flag back, and they just all got knocked over.
Nice.
Yeah.
And politics aside, it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, it is hilarious to watch. Yeah, it's just ridiculous how tough they act when they have people outnumbered, and if it's anything close to a fair fight, they fucking puss out, dude.
If you want to sell me on anarchy, you better be able to fucking survive long enough to make it worth my while.
Yeah.
I'm not following you if you're going to be dead whenever you fucking want to happen happens. That doesn't work for me.
Anarchy is never going to fucking work. There are not enough fucking decent people in the world for anarchy to fucking work, dude.
I mean, like, what people think of as anarchy is not technically what the definition is. Like, people think of anarchy as inherently a bad thing, and it's like, it could work theoretically, but it's one of those things where it's like, if everyone followed the rules perfectly, the system could work. And it's like, well, yeah, most systems work if you force everyone to follow the rules perfectly. But are they
Yeah,
going
like
to?
Communism sounds great in theory, but you know, I remember thinking like, right about the age of 14 or 15, I'm like, communism sounds fucking great. But then I actually thought it through, and I'm like, there's no way that's ever going to fucking work. Like, it's just not, you know.
You're always going to get people that just don't want to work, or, you know, who abuse the system.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
capitalism sounds great in theory, but there's major drawbacks to that too. Like, I don't think there's any system where there's no drawbacks.
Yeah, it's just
how bad are those drawbacks?
Yeah, we count up how communism has pretty much led to mass slaughter wherever, almost everywhere, pretty much everywhere it's been implemented on a mass scale.
Us capitalists would never slaughter anyone.
Yeah,
no, it happens. It's like I said, it's not perfect, but you know, Russia is somewhere between 30 to 60 million people in 50 years, or how many 100 million or something in China.
The death toll that capitalism has caused is in ancillary deaths from other people that they've basically fucking destroyed. If you look at Iraq, I don't know how much you guys know about after the major Iraq war, the not the Bush one.
I just think that there might be a better system out there yet to be discovered.
That's what I'm going to say. Hold on.
And that we're going to look back at capitalism like, oh, wow, that was dumb too.
I'm getting there. But I was just putting this out. They basically initiated, set up a free market in Iraq after Desert, or whatever it was, where they removed Saddam Hussein.
Desert Storm and Desert Shield?
And
No.
Essentially, capitalists went in and instituted a free market thinking, oh, it's going to be the perfect capitalist system. And it just fucking fell apart. They just, all these crooked people came in and just bankrupted the country beyond what the war had already done. Just to a level of
without
staggering
proper
poverty.
oversight.
And a lot of people starved to death, and it was terrible.
Yeah, well,
and you never hear that when you're hearing people argue economics. They never argue from a realistic perspective of what that system really does. They always argue their particular economic system from a point of perfection. Like, this is how it works in a perfect
if everyone
world.
followed the rules perfectly.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
And that's why we don't get a new one.
There's going to be corruption. Like, it's almost inevitable. It depends on how bad the corruption is, basically.
There's got
how much corruption you deal with
to oversee corruption at every level.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at what was it that Einstein said? Insanity is continually doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. And what really bothers me is we're looking at these economic things that were created like 100, 200 years ago, or a really long time ago, and we keep using them and they keep failing, and we don't work on coming up with new systems.
Here's the thing. It works good enough, and what people like to do, instead of building something from the ground up, is just put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
This is why we keep getting like crashes and bubbles bursting and shit like this, because they just keep pushing back dealing with the problem that we need to deal with now, and it would be difficult, sure, but we could handle it in small little chunks. But they wait until it builds up and builds up and builds up into this huge thing that we can't deny the existence of anymore, and then everything comes crashing down, and they're like, we had no idea this was gonna happen. And it's like, you knew. You fucking knew. You didn't care at the time. It was this short-sighted, short-term gain bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and no system is going to be perfect. But I'd like to see a system that has better checks and balances built in.
But we've purposely corrupted our system, it seems.
It got bought out, man.
Well, this is along with your, it's going to take decades of making sure people are better educated than the last generation. It's the same thing with economics. The more educated people are, the more these things can get worked out in the future.
Yeah, because I'm not in a camp. I'm not in the capitalist versus communist camp. I'm in the camp of find the best system that makes money work for people the way it was intended to be, instead of people being slave to the money, Yeah,
well, what generally works, and this is just a real vague what generally works here. I'm not saying this is the only thing that works. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm saying what generally works for the most people.
You say it, Stabby.
Is when money flows.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not about giving it to a specific group. There's always give it to the rich, give it to the poor, blah, blah,
money
blah.
sponges are bad.
When money is just continually flowing and it's not being held in giant bank accounts.
Yes.
When you don't have trillionaires and stuff like that.
Yes.
It actually is better for everybody.
Preach it, Stabby.
Yeah, as long as I think as long as the average person is doing okay,
as long as there's
not a lot of poverty.
Yeah, and then when money is just constantly flowing in larger and larger amounts, that ends up being the case. But right now we are in a situation where it's being pooled in these giant pools of these billionaires and these corporations, and not flowing anymore, and that's the problem.
Yeah, we got money sponges.
Yeah,
and by that it's just something specifically designed not to better humanity in any way, specifically designed to suck up as much money as possible and not let any of it go. And that benefits no one except the one or two people that own that sponge, Well,
and that there's this mythology that gets
people starve in the meantime.
The trickle-down mythology.
Yeah, well, the sponge doesn't let anything trickle down.
I still can't believe that's gotten sold and still continues to be applied.
No, it's a perfect example. It's if the system worked perfectly, then the trickle-down system would work. But we all know the system doesn't work perfectly.
Is you could just be so then why does Bill Gates still have all that money?
Because he doesn't trickle down enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's
not trickling enough.
The incentive
can we get
trickle down
pictures of Bill Gates trickling?
Yeah.
Oh shit, guys! I got to step away for a couple minutes, right?
All right.
Oh yeah, go for it.
He's gonna go check penis wiki.
Yeah, I have not masturbated in like 12 hours, so
Okay.
I'll be right back, man. Hold on.
No worries. But yeah, that's one of those things that just bothers me. It's like the trickle down bullshit. I look at it as ticks on a dog.
We'll see.
Essentially,
Yeah,
it's just like the blood in the dog, and you can only have so many ticks before the dog fucking dies.
but see, I think the trickle down thing could work if they actually trickled it down and they trickled down in the right places. But I don't think they're ever going to do
I don't
that.
think it can ever work in reality because you only need so much. Like once you've got the basics covered, like at a certain point, you don't necessarily have any reason to spend. Like if you have $1 billion, you know, you still only need so much money for food, shelter.
That's
and,
exactly
like,
what I'm
clothing.
saying. Like they can't possibly trickle enough money out.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible. And,
Yeah.
and sometimes they purposely don't. Like that's how a lot of these people stay rich, is because they purposely don't spend a lot of money. They don't put a lot of money back into the economy that gave them the money in the first place.
Oh yeah, well, rich people are like the most common, like welchers.
I
on,
really
like,
think
debt.
I really think that people that work for these giant corporations should be paid percentages of what the company earns. Like, and you know, you can divide that up as like this position gets paid 0.00001%, you know, divide it up however it needs to be to make it a reasonable wage for that position.
Yeah,
But
there's
it's like
a thing that
that
never
way,
has.
when the company starts earning more money, every person in that company starts earning more money, and it doesn't just they stay the same, they stay paid the same, and the dude in charge keeps getting paid more and more, because that's how it works now, basically.
Yeah, when I worked at Sears Auto Center, the very first job I had when I was 18, so a long fucking time ago, what they did was they would pay you your hourly rate on a weekly basis. You get paid every week. And then they would also pay you a bonus based on how much business the store did.
Sure.
So you were absolutely motivated to work harder and get everything done
To get more sales.
because you
To get
make
more
more
money.
money if the company made more money.
Yeah.
And then they stopped doing that after about I
Simple
think,
incentive.
9 months that I worked there, and people just stopped working as hard.
IRS does the same thing. If you demonstrate that you can type faster and more accurately, then they have incentive programs.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, no,
common sense. It's
Sears
better
Auto
for the
Center-
person working, and it's
Yeah.
better for the IRS too, and it's better for the taxpayer because everything
and then
gets
as
done
soon as it
faster and
stops-
more accurately.
As soon as that kind of stuff stops, then people just stop working as hard because there's no reason. There's no benefit for you. Why would you work harder?
Well, yeah, if it's a flat rate, then it's like you're going to get
You're not
paid.
gonna get a raise. You're not
You're going to get paid 100% whether you try 40% or 90%. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
But one of the things people have never been able to explain to me when
But
they
Stabby,
talk about how the minimum wage is bullshit.
if it was
and how
truly
it's wrong
something I
to
cared
raise it.
about, I'd give 100% anyways.
Yeah, bullshit.
But I think
The
no, I
part I
swear,
don't
but
get-
I think that's a very rare thing. I don't think most people would do that.
Yeah, no, most people aren't. It's not realistic.
Like for my son, I don't get paid anything,
people
and I
hate their
still
job.
give 100%.
Well, most people fucking don't give a shit about their job. Most people hate their job.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'd say I'd really have to truly care about it.
Yeah.
Like
But anyway, let
teachers.
me get to where I'm going here.
Okay.
The thing that I've
Drive the
never
truck.
gotten anybody to explain that makes sense to me is if you're working for a company, say you work for like Target,
He's back.
and over the course of your day, you've brought in, say, like $2,000 or $3,000 worth of business.
Sure.
Why is it that it's then justifiable to pay you like $10 an hour?
Minimum wage, or yeah.
Yeah. Well, like
That's
in
what I'm
California,
saying.
10 or 11.
Every
Why
employee
is-
should
why
get a percentage of the money earned, not just a flat wage.
And the thing they don't explain to me is, well, the guy at the top should always get more because it's his company. And I'm like, yeah, well, duh. You know, the dude that made this whole thing happen should get a big fucking chunk of the money. He did
Yeah,
all
but
this.
he couldn't do them by itself.
Which is why I don't understand why it's acceptable to pay such shitty wages to the workers.
Because it's the
He can't do
Ferengi.
it by himself.
Stabby, have you ever heard of the Ferengi?
No, I've never
from
I've never
Star
seen
Trek?
Star Trek ever. I've never heard of that show. What do you mean Star Trek?
They
Ferengi?
have giant ears,
I know
and
who you're
and the reason they have such shitty laws for employees and such awesome laws for the people in charge is because they all want to be that person in charge so that they can then take
Yeah.
advantage of the unfair rules. The
Yeah, the
problem
United
is
States incorporated
99% of people never get to take advantage of those shitty rules. They're only victimized by them. But they
the
accept them
United States is
existing.
made up entirely of temporarily embarrassed millionaires.
Yeah. So it's like,
And I'm never going to be a millionaire. That's just not going to fucking happen. It's not in the cards for me. I'd like to get paid a fair wage for the work I do. You know,
I
that's all
couldn't
I'm
be a million. I don't think I could be really, really rich and sleep comfortably at night.
Sorry, Akinaro distracted me. No, I agree.
I would feel really guilty that
The
I
stuff
had
you have to do to get there is pretty
so
shit.
much, and that there would be like, you know, like the typical kid starving in Africa thing, or some bum dumpster diving for a sandwich or whatever. And it's like, I just don't.
Yeah.
It's so unfair that some people have so much and other people have so little. When I
Yeah.
feel like there's enough to go around, way more than what we have right now.
I worked at Safeway, and
It's
every
because
day
of money
we would
sponges.
throw away, you know, those 20-gallon trash bags? Essentially, one or two 20-gallon trash bags full of perfectly edible
Oh,
salty food in the
Yeah.
dumpster. And they would chase off any hobo that showed up to try to get into that bag to get some food out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, fucking, what's the point, man? You're throwing it
Start
away.
donating that food somewhere or something.
And then at one point, fucking, there was some hobo that fallen asleep by the dumpster, and this is in the middle of winter. And my boss was like, come on, we're going to go grab a bucket of grease and throw it on him.
Oh, fuck.
And I was just like, oh, I didn't know you were into, like, killing hobos.
Bucket of grease.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the middle of winter, and this was like a fucking, like, for California, this was like well below zero weather.
Oh, no.
And I was just like, you're going to get this dude.
You aren't used to that over
in
there,
the
are
middle
you?
of the middle of the night. Well, it's not as bad as where you are, but I
In
mean,
Western Maine.
this is cold
More
enough that it
temperate.
could kill if the guy was wet and he's
Yeah.
in bad health. And I'm just like, so, you know, you're going to take a guy that, you know, is in shitty health already, get him wet in the middle of the night in winter,
Yeah.
and hope for the best?
He's clearly not doing well as it is.
Yeah.
You're going to come along and shit on him real good.
And that manager was just like, oh, I didn't think of that.
It's like they don't think of them as actual human beings, dude. It's fucked up.
Yeah. He's just a bum.
Yeah, it was so
Thing.
fucking.
Just a thing there that's annoying me.
It's so easy for people to dehumanize other people.
Yeah. Look, man, I don't give money to homeless people because I've worked with a lot of homeless people, and I know that that's all going to drugs. And a lot of people are homeless because they choose not to take the medications that will help them to be able to, like, cope. Not everybody. Let me make that clear. Not everybody. I will give
Hashtag not all.
I will give food to people who are homeless, but I will never give money.
Yeah.
Like, I'll buy a motherfucker a sandwich, but I'm not going to give him a 5 note.
I got a nice bum story.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
So I got a guy, not going to give you his name, but his name rhymes with name, which is stupid enough. But anyways, he inherited $250,000. I'd say 3, maybe 4 years ago at this point.
Spent it all?
And the last time I saw him, he was on a street corner begging for dollars.
Yep.
Like, he spent all of it in less than like 3 years, 4 years.
I'd be willing to bet he gave a fair amount of it away, too. Probably,
He,
like,
he
family.
probably gave a fair amount away to women.
Yeah. Ladies of negotiable virtue, you say?
And yes. And I'm gonna guess a lot of it went towards drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Like huge amounts of it. So there's an example of the trickle down effect in action, Stabby. He was rich and he trickled down all of his money into the local economy.
That guy's a fucking hero, man.
And now he's a
For a million.
bum.
Whereas if I got $250,000, I'd move to, like, some state with cheap land
Well-
prices, buy up some land and put a house on it and fucking live there.
He didn't trickle down though, let's be honest. It was like,
The flood.
you ever heard of the old Chinese flood myth where the dude stabs the cloud with a spear and it creates a global flood? That's kind of what he was. It wasn't really a trickle down. It was a flood. and all the money was gone within a couple years.
Probably very little of it was taxable either, I would imagine. A lot of
No,
I don't
useless
know. I don't think
transactions
so.
going on.
It was inheritance money.
Yeah, no, I
You
mean
taxed on that.
the stuff you spent the money on.
Oh,
yeah.
no. I imagine a good deal of it was not taxable.
That's part of my presidential platform. I want to eliminate the double taxes.
Double tax.
So, like, okay, so you pay your income tax. That should be it.
Okay.
I
You
don't
don't want like sales tax.
Well, I don't want things like inheritance tax, gift tax, game tax,
Oh, okay.
fucking property tax. Like, you're paying taxes on money you've already paid taxes on in a lot of cases.
Hmm.
And,
I
like,
see.
that's the one thing I'd like to see eliminated.
So you're getting taxed because it's income and also because it's this specific type of income.
Yeah, essentially, it's like, we'll say, like, Mike, say you work really hard, you save $100,000, you die, you pass it on to your kid.
Sure.
You've already paid all the taxes on that $100,000. Why the fuck should your kid now have to turn around and pay another big chunk of money?
Yeah,
that's already
pay
been
more
taxed?
taxes.
Yeah, that is
That's
ridiculous.
Because America's desperate for fucking money.
Yeah. Well, and I also want to shut
we
down
pissed
all
our
the people
economy
that
away.
suit things except the FBI. So NSA, TSA, CIA, FTA, just fucking all of them. I
You
want
want all the
Yeah.
alphabet agencies gone.
all
Again-
of them gone except for the FBI, which would then take a few of the people from the agencies to, like, basically continue on and doing all that stuff. And essentially, by shutting them down, you'd shut down a lot of old programs that are just there to justify a budget, but don't even
Yeah.
do anything anymore.
Oh, that's the worst thing in the world. I know for
Yeah.
a fact that the government works exactly that way, where
Yeah.
the people will spend money because they know if they do, they'll get that much money and maybe even more the next time they get a budget review.
Yeah,
So that
exactly.
they can then piss away even more money.
And eventually, you end up
to
with
get another
departments that
bigger
don't
budget.
even do work.
They just
They
get
just
bigger and bigger
exist to
budget.
get money.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And so that's what you essentially would need to
That's
clear
what
out
our
all these agencies in order to, like, at this point, you just got to scrap as many of them.
That's what our schools have turned into, Stabby. They've turned into agencies almost specifically designed to get money. They cheat on the standardized testing on purpose to get a bigger budget.
And that's part of the problem with colleges. Why their what do you call it? Tuitions have gone up so high because the government pays because the government pays for a certain number of people's tuitions every year.
Plus
Yeah.
the loans.
So if you raise
all the
tuition, you
loans
get more
they-
money from the government.
Nice.
Plus
But
they
that's
do
a
all the
guarantee.
loans, man.
Oh yeah, and the loans too. Oh yeah, the whole thing.
Mm.
But essentially, it started because the government was paying for a certain amount of people's tuition or a certain percentage of tuition. And so if they just made the tuition higher, they get more free money from the government, and the government's committed to paying that percentage regardless.
Right.
So it was like, oh, well, you're a state-run college, so you're going to get 60% of your tuition paid by the government. Well, just raise it 20%. That 60% comes much larger.
That's what I'm saying. Like we need a way better oversight.
Yeah.
Like if we could just somehow keep shit a tinier bit honest. Like
But then I found out that's what Kennedy killed, and I'm like, never mind. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Like,
say. You get a fucking bullet in your head, dude.
like we've got rules that are bad enough that make it, easy enough for people to cheat the system. But it's like in some cases, if we could just keep people a little bit more honest, if we just had one guy in there that just like was able to be like, no, I was there, and he like, no, that's not accurate what happened. Like if we
Yeah.
just had a little bit more honesty, I think it'd go a lot further.
Oh, well, what is it? Freaking one of the things that gets me is the nope, lost that thought. Never mind.
No, okay.
It's
I was
gone.
gonna say, you need some kind of system that audits it, but then the people that are auditing can be bought. So you'd have to
Yeah,
have people
well,
audit
yeah.
the auditors, and
Well, the thing is, you have to have like maybe 2 to 3 agencies that, along with doing their job, also try to oversee the other ones. You know what I'm saying? Like one agency keeps agency A keeps tabs on B and C, and
So
then
like
B
it check
keeps
checks and
tabs on A and C, and then C keeps tabs on those two, and it's like,
Yeah.
so there's more of a chance of
No,
stuff
I know,
getting caught.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm like, so built-in checks and balances.
Yeah,
essentially.
exactly. Just a little more oversight and honesty. And the problem is people are only honest as they think they can get away with a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
maybe we
that's-
need a little bit stricter oversight in some cases where it's like people aren't allowed to get away with as much as they're used to anymore because
we
they
have
took
secret
it too
courts.
far.
Well, another huge problem that's causing that too is the fact that the media used to be a watchdog and now it's part of the fucking
Yeah,
system.
now it
Yeah, essentially, people bought the media. That was a huge issue.
yeah,
Yeah.
the news reporting. I watch a lot of movies and TV shows from like the 30s and 40s. And the idea of being a news reporter back then was like you had to get the truth and you had to get it out there to the public because they had the right to be well informed and be knowledgeable about what was happening.
Yeah,
don't
or
see that
actually taking
anymore.
a stand. Like if you watch the movie Good Night and Good Luck.
All I see is them wanting money for advertising.
Mhm. Yeah, but
Well,
have
and here's the thing.
you seen that movie, the one about Murrow taking on what's his name, the commie scare guy, McCarthy?
No.
Oh
no, I've
wow,
never seen-
McCarthy.
Yeah, it's called
Okay.
Good Night and Good Luck. About how he fucking took on, you know, I'm talking about
Good night
McCarthy, the one that
and
was
good luck.
blaming everybody of being communists.
Yeah, the
McCarthy is-
McCarthy era.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was about how Edward R. Murrow took them on and how, like, shit like that used to happen.
That's some dangerous
what
shit
they're
too.
trying to do, what they're trying to bring back right now, the Red Scare.
Mhm. Yeah, but
Yeah.
nobody's fighting against it. They're part of it, dude. Like the media back then would fight against something.
Well, no,
like
now
that.
what's fighting against it is like the majority of the people are like, I don't think Russia had. What the fuck are you talking about Russia for?
Mhm.
And the news is just goes on and on. Like if you listen to Rachel
Yeah.
Maddow, she sounds like Alex fucking Jones, but with tits.
She is fucking
Bigger
nuts, dude.
But
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Alex
Back in the
Jones.
day, it was a news company or news station that took that on, and now the
Yeah.
news is the ones that are fucking pushing that shit.
Well, it's the YouTubers are basically the new news. The new media is what's putting
Yeah.
it on. And
Mhm.
I think
And
they're fighting
and
a winning
unfortunately,
battle, but it's just
it's
taking a
been
while.
unfortunately it's been
Yeah.
proven that they also can be bought just as easily as other news organizations.
Well, yeah,
So,
but I don't think they've
you just
started
have to-
buying them out yet.
Like it's rare, but it's been
Yeah.
proven sometimes where it's like this person's clearly been bought out, even though they used to represent like truthful, upright values and things like that.
Well,
Like the Young Turks.
You
Yeah,
can't eat
well-
upright values, though.
I think the Young Turks used to be okay at one
But you
point.
can
I'm
try.
not sure.
You know if you're being paid to have your opinion changed.
I was just joking, man. I know what you're saying. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah,
I
think
mean,
the Young Turks
because
are
everyone's
probably-
going to have a different opinion and they're all going to think they're right, of course.
Yeah.
You know, but you know when you're being paid to change your opinion.
Right.
That's the
Well, I used
difference
to watch
maker.
the Young Turks a long time ago, and they actually just
So
made
did I.
like real stuff.
Mhm.
And then they started going off the deep end a little bit, and I was like, well, I mean, everyone gets it wrong every once in a while. And then I just kept getting, and I know it's a biased point of view, but then I kept seeing more and more things. It's like,
Yeah,
Jesus,
this is
like
beyond
really went off the
bias.
deep end there again too. Like, how many times is this going to happen? And then
Well, I
I
think,
just kind of quit paying attention to him.
I think I think it's is it Al Jazeera is their main fucking contributor now? Al
Is it?
Jazeera, I think so, which is owned
Yeah,
by
that-
what, a company in Yemen or something.
Yeah, I
But
think
it's-
that's right, actually.
Yeah, and since then, yeah, they don't. They're huge Muslim apologists, and despite Cenk being an
Oh,
ex,
yeah, well, I think that-
ex-Muslim.
I think the oil money is why there's such a pushback by a lot of people against green energy.
Money.
Is because there's all these really big oil money people in the Middle East who are like, no, dude, I don't want to fucking lose my fucking $1 billion a day income.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
It's like,
that ain't going to happen.
what do you
I've
mean?
kind of wondered about that. Like this
Like-
is this is
Like even if we switched like everything we could to green energy, we'd still like a huge percentage of our economy would still run on oil like residually for years to come probably. until
I
it
know.
became like
Yeah, they'd still be doing okay.
too expensive to like buy anymore.
And it's also absurd that they wouldn't start switching over.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
take
it's
some of that
it's
oil money
completely
and invest
absurd that
in
we
the
won't
green
switch
energy.
over, and that's because our government's so fucking corrupt. We're back to the
Well,
the
and how many
corruptness.
people, I wonder how many people realize that electric cars were almost the standard when cars first started.
Yeah.
And that it was the only reason that we ended up with gas cars is because the government specifically spent a ton of money building gas stations. Like they actively made the choice they were going to support gas engines and not electric engines. And they were like, all right, we're just going to pay people to build gas stations and that's how it's going to be.
Okay, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, I'd never heard that. That's crazy.
And then electric cars died off and they were never heard from again until more recently. You know?
What?
And everybody's like, well, you can't, electric cars aren't feasible long distance. It's like, well, because the government hasn't spent the same kind of money
Yeah, they put the
to build
research
charging
in.
stations.
Well, yeah. If our economy had been based on electric vehicles this whole time, we would have had decades worth of research put into
No, I'm
it.
saying like
Yeah.
the government's not willing to do the
But
same
we're not.
amount of work to support electric engines that it was when it was supporting
Yeah,
gas.
they put in gas stations
No,
instead
yeah.
of.
It chose one over the other, and it just
And I'm
said
saying
fuck
they're
the
not,
other.
that now that's all passed, they're not willing to do anything now.
No, of course
It's
not.
it's just accepted now. Yeah.
Whereas, like, if they were to make a subsidy to build charging stations at gas stations, and be like, hey, if you guys build, 4 charging stations at your gas station, we'll give you X amount of money to pay for it, kind of thing.
Right.
And then you can make money charging people for, topping off their electric cars. There's also there's quick charge battery technology that we won't allow in the U.S. Currently, most electric cars take 6 to 7 hours to charge up. You can do that in 5 minutes with some of the tech that's out there.
But that would make it far too convenient and efficient.
I've also heard of
more
like
Longer than filling a gas tank, but it can be done in about 5 to 10 minutes. Some cases 15, depending on the kind of battery you're using.
Right.
And the
I've
voltage
also
that you're
heard
willing
about
to run out.
I've heard about solutions that like you replace having a traditional battery with like electrically charged fluid. So it's basically the equivalent of like filling a gas tank with gas. It's like the liquid inside of a battery that already has the energy stored in it. It's been charged for the 6 or 7 hours it needs at the gas station or whatever, the electric station, and you
So
just
it's already charged and ready to go.
empty yours out and pour the new stuff in. And
Well,
so
and
it's
then
like
you can also convert.
there's fast ways,
Well, you can also convert pretty much any engine after the 90s to run on methanol, ethanol, or any blend of methanol, ethanol, and gasoline. Like any blend of those 3 things, or each one individually, that you could just start running your car off of that instead. Like that's a legit thing. You just have to reprogram the computer and change a few gaskets. It's really not expensive. And you're talking like, a couple $100 to save a ton of money on gas.
Yeah. See, I've never heard that, and I guarantee you there aren't many people that have.
Yeah, it's really not that hard to do. It's really not at all complicated. It's sort of like running a diesel engine off of like vegetable oil. It's really not hard to do.
Mm.
The only downside is with vegetable oil, you can't stop the car while it's still got vegetable oil. You have to
run it all the way out.
Diesel, and then you have to run all the vegetable oil out and have it filled with diesel when you stop it because the vegetable oil solidifies too easily.
Mm.
nice.
But I'm sure there's probably chemical additives that could be added to like corn oil to make it work just fine.
I mean, there's a reason we still use gasoline. It's way easier than doing all the stuff that we're talking about. Like,
and the infrastructure already exists too. That's a big part of it as well.
Like it's just a liquid that you pump out of the ground, and with a little bit of refinement, it's explosive, and it's got a lot of power in it. And it's like, but as great as that is, the downside is, we've based our whole economy on it. So if that goes away, so does the economy, and at the same time, it also damages the atmosphere.
Well, and
That's
also
the other part.
if you look at, it costs people a lot more money to be on an oil-based economy. The poor and the middle class pay a lot more than they need.
We also made a decision at one point to make our entire shipping based around diesel engines and gasoline instead of using railway systems, which were at the time much more efficient for transporting large amounts of goods.
Absolutely.
And so we've built our entire economy on yet another short-sighted thing.
Yeah, freaking Okinawa was pointing out that LPG is also something you can use. Like you can use the normal gas in your home, like natural gas.
Yeah. The chat room.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't know that.
Man, my phone, I was trying to follow the chat a little bit because I had my phone, but my phone was fucking dying, so I had to give up.
I got to get reminded of the chat room every once in a while.
I've got them both open on my screen.
Deep Space Nine. Yes.
Oh, Okinawa points out, 5 to 8 years they need to be removed and they can't be neutralized. Depending on the type of battery, that's true. It's 6 to 1/2 dozen of the amount of pollution the batteries and the oil cost. I'm just looking at let's take money out of the people who actively want to fucking give money to people that want to kill us.
Yeah, I want to take power and money away from people that are actively preventing us from furthering the betterment of humanity in general. Even for them, you know what I'm saying, and their children, it's even beneficial, but they're too fucking stupid to know it.
Oh yeah.
I got mad then.
I also kind of wonder if, in addition to just the oil shit, if these Middle Eastern countries are actually paying for influence, from politicians and whoever, to not, to make sure that Islam isn't prosecuted or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I haven't on my mind whatsoever that there's a lot of funding from a lot of Islamic.
Do religious people not? Do religious people pay money to not get in trouble?
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, are they're actually paying money from over there? Having that much influence.
It's funneled over
because of Islam's stated goal is pretty much to take over everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of religions
worldwide caliphate is what they think should happen.
Well, a lot of religions have the tenet of spread the religion, because if they didn't, then those religions would be more likely to die out because they're not actively spreading.
Yeah, but Islam's a lot more hardcore.
So, that's what I'm saying.
Kill the infidels.
It's built into the religion. Well, so does Christianity. It says to kill the people, the non-believers too, but it's Christianity's been beaten back.
Well, that's more the Old Testament than.
It's been beaten down to the point where it's it's not acceptable to do that anymore, and most Christians understand.
Where the majority of Christians, if you start spouting that off, will look at you and be like, "Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? We don't do that.
It's in your holy book," and they're like, "Yeah, but that's the Old Testament." Well,
we went through Christianity went through the Reformation, and kind of fucking did away with a lot of the crazy shit, the genocide and the fucking.
Well, you can't divorce Christianity from the Old Testament. It's what it's founded on.
Yeah, but they still kind of.
I mean, they do.
That's the idea that it was the unquestioned word of God, and in Islam, that is it's supposed to be the unquestioned word of God. And Christians don't. Well, some do, but not a lot of Christians still believe that everything in the Bible is the unquestioned word of God.
Well, yeah.
But that's what the fucking Islam.
And that's why we need to beat. Yeah, that's why we need to beat Islam down, like Christianity's been beaten down, so that they're like, oh, so that they can do the equivalent of that's the Old Testament in Islam. They can be like, oh, that's the old Al Jazeera or whatever. That's the old Quran.
Those are the hadiths we no longer follow.
Yeah, those are the
crazy ones. Those were the satanic verses.
Yeah. Because as dumb as it is, I'd rather have a bunch of hypocritical Christians that don't do the crazy shit in the Bible than people that are completely logical and follow through what the Bible logically tells you to do.
Well, not that long ago, Proposition 8 in California, which was the anti-gay marriage proposition,
Oh yeah.
got passed because the Mormon Church, fronted by the Catholic Church, so nobody really knew it was the Mormons. They all thought it was the Catholics, because if people knew it was the Mormons, they never would have agreed.
Catholic Mormons.
Spent millions and millions and millions of dollars getting that pushed through, like advertising, all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And that was that long ago. So if you think Islam isn't paying a ton of
Stabby, if it's okay
your
for
mind.
two
I'll still
guys
take
to have
Mormonism over
sex,
Islam, personally.
then how do you stop?
No, I'm just saying, if you think Islam isn't paying money to politicians,
Right.
there's absolutely paying.
Yeah. I just wondered if they did it, like I knew obviously to buy influence as far as fucking making money and shit. But
They absolutely do.
yeah, because that makes the most sense really to me. I was like, why are these fucking, all these politicians and shit coming out and saying, no, this is just one guy. This isn't Islam. This is just this guy, or whoever's involved in these terrorist acts.
Because they know that they're going to get like a 10 or a 50 grand check in their war chest, or even more, depending on the position they're running for or holding. They're going to get, they're going to get that check,
Right.
if they say what they're, told to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder if they do that with the schools too. Like if they somehow funnel money to the schools or directly to these professors.
They've proven that the Muslim Brotherhood is funneling money to schools.
Yeah.
I've seen enough.
Yeah, I always have these theories, but I never actually check up on them. And then, it turns out this has already been investigated and proven.
Essentially, they funnel it through like cover companies that do textbooks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gotcha.
So, the Muslim Brotherhood owns interest in a lot of textbook companies that put pressure on politicians to use their textbooks to sway the schools the way they want them to be.
Mm. Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. Strategically.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
The problem is that rest of the Muslims agree with them and don't do anything. Well, I mean, sure, some of them, but let's not pretend that every single Muslim is a terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Let's not go to that extreme either, because that's easily just as absurd.
Why pretend when we know it's true?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sorry.
We already know it for a
that's
fact.
the thing is, like, even most what you would consider moderate Muslims still kind of, most of them still would rather have Sharia in effect.
They give like a wink and a nod to stuff. They don't support it, but they don't oppose it.
Yeah, and moderate Christians also believe some crazy shit. But there's also a lot of Muslims that are like, no, we don't agree with any of the terrorism. Like,
yeah.
Although that's built into the religion too, and that's part of the problem. A big part of the problem with Islam is that lying about this shit is built in too. So, like, when you're not in charge, when you don't have a majority or you don't have any influence, you act like the religion of peace. Once you infiltrate and get built up and you become a majority, then the fucking real hardcore shit starts coming in.
Well, that's how every group is that hopes to dominate other people is. Like, they always play nice at first when they're outnumbered. They're always like, oh, we're nice, we're cool.
I don't know if any of the other ones have it built into their book though. Like, they actually have it detailed.
Sure. Christianity has stuff that says be nice to people.
Until you're in charge and then take over?
Pretty much. I mean, even if it's not ordained specifically in the religion, that's the effect that they all have.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Well, that's
to
the
build it
distinction
in.
I'm making is that's like a main focus of it is it's okay to lie about it. It's okay,
that's
play nice
some
when you're
people.
not in charge. And then when you are, you can be as ruthless as you want because you're in charge.
Yeah, for some people.
Yeah.
I just don't want to. Let's not say that all Muslims think this, and you know exactly how all Muslims think. Like, let's not go there.
All right. Okay, I'll throw in the hashtag not all every once in a while to remind you that I'm not thinking that way.
That.
It's a lot of them though, dude. I think it's a lot more than a lot of people realize.
The problem is that there's full-on governments that agree with it.
Right.
Like the Sharia.
Well, that's the problem. They haven't been beaten back like Christianity has.
I mean, the problem is, I think Christianity doesn't really have a say in how the governments are run, other than maybe like Italy at this point.
Yeah, they used to be completely in charge,
Yeah,
but they've been
this is
beaten
true.
back. And when they
Right,
were in charge,
starting
they were completely
the-
ruthless about it.
Yeah, no,
'Cause they,
I'm not arguing
they
against
had
you.
no reason not to
You
be.
don't have
Well,
to
I'm
keep
just
proving
saying,
it.
Muslims are in the same position. Like, they have no reason to not be completely ruthless because everyone just accepts that's the way it is in their culture.
No, we need to
But-
starve them of money. I think
But
that's the best way to do it.
in this age, they're exposed to the internet. The Christians hundreds of years ago didn't have a knowledge source. They couldn't look up how people were living across the world. They couldn't educate themselves the way some people can now in the Middle East. So
Well,
it's
like
like,
you've seen
I really
Iran
hope that the
70s
Muslims or
modern
just
day, right?
what's up? I
Have you
didn't hear
seen the stuff about how Iran was in the 70s and how it is now?
Yeah,
Oh,
that shit's
oh, yeah,
crazy.
it's-
Or even
it's-
Iraq before Saddam was like fucking.
Yeah.
It's way more
Really
fundamentalist now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the things. Is like they're one of the few places where like the religion is actively going backwards. It doesn't usually regress
But-
quite
but-
to that extent.
But that's because the governments usually repress information.
Yeah,
And nowadays with the World Wide Web, it's harder than ever to oppress information completely. So I really think that right now the Muslims are like having to play catch up on like 2,000 years worth of like what the Christians had to go through to get beaten back to the point where it's like they're reasonable now. You can usually handle them. It's like the Muslims they're going to have to go through that way faster, and it's probably going to be way more violent.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, is there's a lot of people that say that the way that Islam's set up, it's not really set up to have a reformation be possible, which I think is kind of partly. I would say it's still going to be extremely
It just
difficult, but I
depends
don't
on
think
the
it's
people.
impossible. Yeah.
If you had an entire generation of if you had an entire generation of Muslims that were like more educated, you can have a reformation even if the fucking book doesn't tell you to. Like,
Right.
people will become more
That's true. They
educated,
can do
and then they'll
exactly
be like, well, oh, let's interpret the Quran this way, so that it still makes sense with the current level of knowledge that we have.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they'll
because like you
reinterpret
said,
to fit the culture.
treat it the way that a lot of Christians do with some of the crazier shit, and it's like, all right, knowing
Yeah,
what we know nowadays, there's no way that was the word of God.
The
Some
religion
people
will
made
be
that up.
made to fit within the culture instead of the other way around at one point.
right.
Hopefully.
Hopefully,
We could have World War III and all that could not happen, and the Muslims win and take over. Like, that's a possibility.
well,
I don't think it's very
likely.
likely, but
Over, it'll only last for so long before like it just starts coming from within. Like,
Yeah, that's the thing. The other thing is,
Changing it from
even if
within.
that did happen, even if there was somehow a worldwide caliphate, the only people that Muslims hate, just slightly less than they hate the West or Westerners, is other fucking Muslims, dude. I really equate it
there is
to
a lot of infighting.
like the orcs in the Lord of the Rings universe. Like, yeah, they hate men and they hate elves, but
Well,
they fucking hate each other too.
it's inherent
Only
because
slightly less.
think about it. When you're that extreme, like, you have to be that intolerant of even the smallest differences sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
like there would be a lot of infighting, and for sure, in a military like confrontation with them, we could take advantage of some of that infighting. Probably, we would present a more united front than some of the Muslim groups trying to get along with each other.
Yeah. No, the only way that Islam could possibly, and they're definitely not doing it militarily, the only way they could is to fucking infiltrate, fucking breed like crazy, and fucking, you know what I mean?
Well,
just have superior
work.
numbers.
Yeah, but
And that
infiltrating
would
and
take a
breeding like
long
crazy
time, dude.
would just mean that they were raised in America with more American ideals, and then they'll just become more American.
Yeah, there'd still be radicalized ones, but yeah, there'd be a lot more that
Well, there's
fucking
always
realize,
radical.
hey, America's not bad. Maybe the
Well, it's-
separation of church and state is a
There's
good
still
thing.
Nazis now, so it's like there's still always going to be the radical crazies.
Yeah.
But really,
generally,
raising kids in a culture usually changes the kids, not the culture.
It usually takes to the third generation to really annihilate the original culture into American culture.
Well, we don't want to
But it
annihilate.
depends on how it happens too. Like if they're doing it like they do in Europe, where you're getting all of them concentrated into these areas where they fucking lock it down and cops don't even bother to go
thousands
there
of
anymore.
people, and they basically just take over towns. That's when you become that. That's being
or entire neighborhoods, even, or huge swaths of cities.
And we even have that in America, and have had it for years. Like,
but a lot of those,
like
Amish, are already compatible.
Like the Amish communities, like those were so close knit that even if there was like suspected criminal activity, like no one was gonna say anything to any police officers. Like everything was kept close. So it's like these
apparently
extremist communities can, like, sometimes they thrive on the ability to separate themselves from the group. You know what I mean?
But a lot of those
you can force a certain type of thought that way, and they're not exposed to anything outside of it. Like the Phelpses.
they're more compatible. A lot of the communities you're talking about, like Chinatown and stuff like that, are a lot more compatible. And
with Chinatown,
that they've been there for like a couple hundred years now. You know, like, I haven't had the issues that are going on like in Europe with the Muslim communities. The stuff that's happening right now is on such a larger scale, though, that it's really true. A lot of mass immigration.
No, I'm just saying it's like it's disturbing that like that's all it takes is everyone agreeing that we're not like this is kept in here and it's not going out of here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, states now are having to pass anti-Sharia laws in the United States.
Anti-Sharia laws.
So essentially what they're doing is they're having to pass laws that are like, no, Sharia law does not ever supersede state or federal law.
Yeah,
it's like, that should be already the case. I don't know why that has to be voted on, but okay. Right.
Because there is this thing in the Muslim culture where, and they've been doing it for years, where you can decide on out of court arbitration, and the type of arbitration you can choose is Sharia. And the males have been taking advantage of this because women get way less according to Sharia law than the normal American justice system. Yeah. So they're pressured by their own family sometimes to screw themselves royally in like a divorce or something. And it's like, it's meant to protect people from being pressured into an arbitration system they don't really want to agree to, but they're still agreeing to. And it's like, it's this level of how do you protect someone from themselves when they're basically saying, I don't want your protection.
Yeah, they're basically being coerced or ostracized. But the other thing is, there's been cases in criminal court where judges are deferring to Sharia law, and it's
that's absolutely unacceptable.
And that's the thing. It's like
we don't live in a Sharia fucking country. We live in.
When that's one of the more disturbing
America,
things.
You know,
like there was a case in Iowa of a guy who raped a kid, and they basically just deferred to Sharia law and let him go. Essentially, it's ridiculous, man. More complicated than I'm explaining, but it's essentially what happened.
I don't give a fuck what
that's their culture
law you're going by. It's like kid fucking is not okay.
Well, and it's becoming more and more of an issue of judges legislating from the bench in the U.S., where they're like, whether you agree with the law or not, they're ignoring the law and making decisions based on politics and personal beliefs instead of based on what the law actually says.
There are times when I've heard of judges legislating from the bench where I'm like, I think the judge made the right choice.
But I think it's dangerous precedent to set because we don't vote for judges.
No, the problem with that is I think the law should be changed to agree with the judge's decision, not that I think the judge was right in trying to circumvent the law itself. You know what I'm saying?
I have no problem with wanting to change the law. I have a real problem with not
going against the law.
Need to get the judicial system should be enforcing the law. We need a better system to get judges removed from the bench.
If the law is so fucked up that judges are having to like go against it at their power level, then it's like maybe we should consider looking into that law a little bit, and or getting rid of the fucking judges that can't get it through their head that that's the law.
I mean, the thing is, you need to be able to get rid of judges because it should never be a case where the judge is changing the law. Like that's the problem.
Yeah, that throws off the whole checks and balances
Because
system.
there's no check on it, because there's no way to remove the judge other than through the judicial system.
No, their job is to interpret the law.
Yeah, but not to decide.
Not to like change it, like subvert it somehow. You know.
Yeah, be like, yeah, this is the law, what the law is, but I don't agree with it, so here's my decision.
And you have judges like in the Ninth Circuit Court, which isn't even the worst. It's only like the fourth worst. There's like 3 worst judge courts in the country when it comes to having their decisions overturned by higher courts.
Yeah, this is another problem that goes back to we really need better education, and it's going to take half a century for it to work.
Well, we need people to actually use the checks and balances that they're put in place.
Honesty.
Well, one of the checks.
A little more honesty and a little more oversight.
The executive branch has the ability to ignore the judicial branch's decision, because the judicial branch has no way of enforcing it. So when they're legislating from the bench, it's sort of like laws that just don't get enforced anymore sometimes. Like it's a similar kind of concept.
Like the law where you can't leave your alligator tied up outside too long.
Yeah, essentially it's you ignore like stupid bullshit that just is not right.
It's not relevant anymore.
But it's a similar way, but the executive branch, that's one of their checks on the judicial branch, and they're not doing it. Okay. Where they essentially go like, that's cute. You've clearly ignored what the law clearly states. We're not gonna follow through with this decision. We're gonna do this anyway, even though you've decided wrong. Because we can't let you just change the law because you don't like it.
But then that's the equivalent of them legislating from their bench too.
No, it's not. They're just enforcing the law as written.
I'm just saying that. But then they're ignoring what they've been like. The judge was ignoring what they've been handed down, and now they're ignoring what the judge has handed down. And it's like,
yes. And I'm not saying they should do it in every situation.
It's
one of the ways.
It's obviously going against the law as it's currently written.
But no, it's just breeding a system where everyone is going against what they should be doing instead of doing it the right fucking way.
Well, and okay, wait. But what then happens is the Supreme Court can then pull that case in quicker to make a decision at a much higher level of authority, and hopefully a much more accurate one.
Yeah, and then we get to the Supreme Court, which we all have talked about before, and we all inherently have a problem with being fucking elected for life or whatever it is. It's like, get that shit out of here.
There needs to be a better system to get judges out of office, and it needs to be something that either the executive or legislative branch can take part in as a balance to their authority. So it's like, look, this guy is consistently ignoring the law. We just need to get him out.
Yeah.
And get somebody in who's actually going to follow the law.
People got to remember, this system was cobbled together by people that were ruled by a king a couple hundred years ago. Like this system was
much smaller and a lot less considerations or things to take into consideration.
We live in a totally different world now, and the system was never perfect. They built in a way for it to get better. It just seems like instead of making it better over time, we've stagnated it, and in a lot of cases just plain made it worse.
Well, I think you can trace that back to like pretty much one major Supreme Court decision that was essentially ignoring the law. And it's one you like to point out a lot of times. The corporations are people decision.
Oh God, I hate that.
And that's what I'm talking about, legislating back from the bench. Like that was one of those cases where it's like that was never a legal definition ever.
Yeah,
just made
like
it up.
They called it an artificial person, but like, you know what I mean? Like they say technically it's like an artificial person, a corporation.
What they wanted was all the benefits of being a human with none of the fucking negatives.
Yeah, because you can't send a fucking corporation to prison for fucking.
You can.
Well,
you just have to send everybody that works there to prison from the bottom. And that's not going to happen. That'd be like
how about we just send them
to all go to prison? That'd be a lot of fucking people.
How about we investigate you cocksuckers, find out exactly which one of you assholes made the decisions, and send your asses to jail to stand in for this artificial person that
Yeah,
never
I don't
fucking
understand.
existed.
I don't understand why that's an issue. Why that doesn't happen? It's fucking
that's-
insane. Well, I guess I do. Fucking money and
If the
bribes.
corporation's one person, right, and you send 5 people to jail, you only have to feed them 1 meal for 1 person because they're all one person, right? So they all have to share a meal and a cell and everything. I think that's fair. And a bed. I think that's fair.
One shitter for all 5 of you fuckers.
Exactly. Or sew them
and then,
together.
That's essentially
Human
Human
centipede.
centipede of them.
That's where all the corruption, I think, that we're dealing with right now. Not all of it, but the majority of the corruption we're dealing with now essentially originated from that. And there's always been issues.
We've just got out of control money sponges.
Yeah.
Corporations whose sole
Corporates have way
desire
too
it
much
is
influence.
to suck up money, and with money, with today's corruption in America, if you've got enough money, you can damn near do anything, and it's okay.
So
that's
then essentially, if
just
we
the level
all
we're at
took up a collection, right? Like we took up a collection nationwide. Like, all right, the 99%, everybody donates $10. And then we're just going to use all that money to hire hitmen to kill the 1%.
Okay, well,
Would that work?
Step 1 is don't say that on the podcast live.
Theoretically, there's no way to do this. It'll never work, but it'll totally work.
Yeah, we're not admitting to anything. This is all a joke for the purposes of entertainment only.
Yeah.
Mr.
Seriously, you have our
Agent.
phones and do whatever you want. None of us ever follow through on anything here. Or, well, I can speak for me and kind of for Stabby, 40 Gamer. I can't say that for sure. But.
I don't do anything.
We're more of idea people. We never.
What if it wasn't a person that did it, though?
What if it was a fake person? What if our corporation did it?
I was going to say, what if it was a corporation that existed in
We make a corporation, and then that corporation kill somebody, and then they go to jail, and we're fine. And then we can just make another corporation to do it again.
All right. So how do you incorporate?
I think we just all stand in a circle together and say incorporate. Like, I don't know.
A magical artificial person is formed.
I'll bet you there's a fake. I'll bet you there's like a bunch of like paperwork to fill out.
$50 online. You fill out some forms and you can file an LLC today.
Yeah, there you go.
Apparently, it's really cheap, really easy in Delaware. That's where a lot of corporations are formed.
Yeah,
it's
Delaware.
the law,
Are they
I believe.
Delawareans or Delawareites?
Nobody cares. It's Delaware. Delaware, for some reason, I kind of imagine them as like the state equivalent of like somebody being in the witness protection program because you never hear about them.
They cared on that TV show Taxi.
Mm-hmm. Is that where that was based?
They cared because that one episode where that dude bought the giant TV. Remember that one?
I don't.
I don't expect 99% of people to remember it. That's like the inside joke for the 0.001%.
You elitist scum. First on the fucking list of the corporation, man.
No. Yeah, only
artificial
people.
The list.
The only people that got that joke were artificial people formed by corporations. It's a very small percentage.
Oh man! All right, I am passing out, man.
All right, yeah.
Oh shit! I've been at this a while.
It is. Hold on, let me see how long we've been going, real quick.
It's literally 4 a.m.
Two where I'm at, but
3 hours.
Nice. We're sorry.
Thanks, sir. This is the first time ever I've been on a stream, so thanks for popping my cherry, man.
Oh yeah, no problem, man.
Oh, yeah.
I hope I didn't do too horribly. I think I did all right, but
you did fine, man. You did great.
Yeah,
I'd love to do it again anytime, brother.
We just say, hey, I'll be happy to send you a link next time we do it. I just want reasonable people to have fun conversations and just enjoy themselves.
Yeah, this was fun.
Like, if that means more people want to watch, great. If not, then that's fine because we're still all having fun.
No, I'm a total hipster. If you get more than 5 people watching, I'm fucking out of here, dude.
Yeah.
right.
Just kidding.
He's leaving this scene.
This scene's too cool now. I gotta get out.
All right. Now, on that note, we're offline.